Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yeah, great to have you with us. Welcome, Florida Talk Real Estate, offering up 2 hours of infotainment every Saturday. And you are locked in. Thanks for being with us. Maybe on the radio, 92.1, 101.7. Live streaming as well. We got cameras set up in the studio every Saturday. You can join us on the live stream, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook or on YouTube as well. Home of a ton of informational chunk videos and a live stream currently, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC on YouTube. You got a toll-free number should you care to be part of the program. Questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, dive all in. 877-927-6969. The water is freezing on this Saturday morning. I can tell because the nipples of our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy, are rock hard. How are you, my brother?
I better cover them up. Thank you, Johnny.
I don't know if I'm getting in there, man.
You need some glass cut?
It's cold in there, evidently.
Good morning, Johnny. Glad to see you.
Good to see you, my dude. Always a pleasure. I'm your buddy, your pal, Johnny C., your air traffic control. Let's get you started and line up on a Saturday morning. Always a pleasure to say good morning to my friend, your friend, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. There's Mike Rauch. How are you, my brother?
That is right. Good morning. Can you say that word on radio?
Nipple?
Yeah.
Heart? Yes.
So that's okay?
Yeah.
All right. The
You just can't
password
say
is...
The T word is the one you
Can you
can't
pull
say.
that movie? The password is...
Nipple. Yes. And I'm going to need a minute.
That's Jim Carrey saying it.
Just a minute.
It'll come to me. Yes.
Jim Carrey says the line.
Yeah. Hold on. You all right over
Underrated movie, actually.
there? Underrated.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm lost.
Ben Stiller's in it.
Which movie you guys talking about?
Yeah,
Where that
we're
line
trying
is
to figure
from.
that
Yeah.
out, actually. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to set up everything.
That's the melodious tones of our fearless leader for almost 12 years now. It's like 11 years and 49 weeks, I think it is.
I actually had a funny thing about that. I was looking at my Facebook page today. You know how they have the memories that pop up?
Yeah.
Well, December 16th, 2011, right? I put out a post saying, I am so excited and happy about next year or whatever. And then I was thinking, why would I? It didn't say why or anything.
Oh.
And then I was like, what made me
What
so
started?
happy?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, 3 weeks from now, I'm going to start the show.
There it
So
is.
3 weeks after that post of December 16th, 2011, we were
Starting Florida
live
Talk
on
Real
air.
Estate.
Yeah.
So it is coming up. We'll celebrate that.
You were on Facebook before the radio?
I actually was on Facebook a little bit just before the radio. I wasn't really into it that much. I used to get blotted and go up to my roof. I used to go upstairs on my roof.
Blotted?
Yeah,
Blotted?
I
Kids
used-
call it these
yeah,
days?
yeah, I call it blotted. And I would go
He was a hep cat.
Yeah, blotted,
Timothy.
and I used to hang up on my roof and drink and then write silly Facebook posts for no reason like a madman.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's Jimmy D. Y'all. Jim DePola, not only the fearless leader of this program, but he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team. Jim DePola, it's Jimmy D. How you be?
I'm doing okay.
Blotted?
Yeah.
Blotted, yeah.
I thought it's not blotto.
I thought blotted. I don't know.
Now that I'm thinking about
I
it.
didn't want to say the F word,
Oh.
the FU word.
What's the movie?
I got FU'd.
Cable guy.
Cable
Cable guy.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get there.
Oh, cable guy. I wouldn't have got that.
You're right. Totally underrated.
Right.
Yes. Because he's a little dark.
Yeah, Jim Carrey has a,
Yes.
dark
Yeah, a
character.
little darker. I think the timing of that movie was probably unfortunately off.
Yeah. I might have to check it out. Let's see if it holds up.
Nice. I like it. Let's do it this weekend. Homework.
Nice. I got some popcorn.
So it's
Dig deep.
oh,
That's what Jimothy
The
uses
best
to.
is in the bottom down there.
He uses it to string around his tree.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Does anyone do that anymore?
I haven't seen that in forever.
Only on Charlie Brown.
I mean, we used to do it.
Did
My
you?
house, sure.
Oh man, that was just to keep you kids busy.
I guess
huh?
so. I mean, I had to do something.
Yeah.
you should do what?
Thread
You'd thread
popcorn,
popcorn on like
Oh,
a
I
fishing
never-
line and
I
put it
never
around the
did that.
tree.
Put it around the tree.
Yeah, I never
Did you
did
eat that popcorn?
I probably like attempted it at some
Just
point.
go up to the tree like and
No, it'd
eat
be
it
like
like a
after.
necklace candy. Just-
Yeah, maybe when the tree was coming down in March or whatever.
The owl in the tree.
we still leave our tree up for a little while.
All
you know.
right.
I said March. You
You
missed
did,
it.
yes. Hey, mine's up in March. I don't judge.
my sister put up her Christmas tree, and she's got a puppy, and it's peeing on the tree all the time.
Oh,
Like going over there and lifting his leg and peeing.
It's
on
a
it.
live tree.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's kind of natural. I
I
guess.
know. It's like, what do you expect?
well, that's tough for a puppy, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
you're trying
exactly.
he's like, it smells like outside over
Yeah.
here. So kind of like this spot.
It's awesome dog. So
Oh,
yeah, my sister rescues animals. So she's not like she doesn't do like 10 at one time or anything, but anytime she gets a pet, she always gets it from the rescue centers and
Awesome.
everything. So that's pretty cool.
that is cool.
Yeah, yeah. We got a lot to talk about today. Interest rates are we're back to 4 months ago because the interest rates have gone down, so that's really good. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about the future of the economy because Jerome Powell. Did you see that meeting? The meeting results from Jerome Powell for the Fed Reserve this week, Johnny? Did you have a chance to catch it?
Yeah, so I obviously did some follow up on it, and the reaction has been awesome.
I'm a little surprised at how positive it was. I was like, did everybody take a Xanax or something? Over there at the Fed Reserve, and they're talking about rate cuts, and
Yeah,
it's coming out of their mouth now that they're thinking about rate cuts. So
Kind of.
we're going to get
sorta.
and we're going to get into that about really if that's really going to happen or not.
There was the headlines were a lot more
Positive, right?
definitive than what he
Did not-
actually said.
Well, that's the way it always.
It
is
always
with
goes that way.
research.
But
Yeah.
then I think it starts building because once one person reports it, then everyone's like, oh, I guess they're cutting rates. I had somebody text me, he's like, are rates going down like 2% next year? And I'm like, geez, that seems optimistic.
that's where it ended up.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard by next year rates are going to be cut in half.
Yeah, I heard we're going to beat the 2.65 is what I heard. I heard we're going to have zero interest rates.
But it was
boy.
positive news,
Yes.
and the market reacted, and we'll see.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because I find it to be interesting. There's a lot of psychology, and I am very jaded about the reports now coming from the Fed. Now, this is just me.
That's what I used to say.
But what I'm concerned about is the national debt, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more because I think that might be why they're so rosy.
I wish there was a
glasses.
few more concerned about that. That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't it be nice if
Yeah.
people were actually concerned about
That'd
that?
be excellent.
So we got a lot to talk about with all of that stuff. I want to do a couple of shout outs first. It was a really crazy week. Before I do the shout out, man, Wednesday was the first time I ever missed a flight. I'd never missed a flight before.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Well,
I've never
congrats.
missed a flight.
That's an awesomely horrific experience.
I didn't even know I didn't even know
Sucks.
how I didn't even know what to do that I missed a flight. But what happened was they wanted me to go to the Leadership Council, Keller Williams, because I'm on the Leadership Council. So they have a regional meeting in Tampa every year. So I really wanted to go, but I wasn't sure. So the office was so nice that they paid for a ticket, so I didn't have to drive back and forth for the timing.
Nice.
And they were going to fly me out. And then the cool part was the convention was basically connected to the airport. And then we would be just hopping back on the plane and coming home. No big deal. So I was really tired on Tuesday night. I was going Wednesday morning. I had to be there at 7 o'clock in Fort Lauderdale. So I ended up setting my alarm for 4. I only gave myself a 35-minute window once I got to the airport to get on the plane. Didn't
Wait,
think
what?
it'd be, in my mind, I
35
normally give an hour window, like get there an hour before the flight. This time,
It's been like 2 hours for about 15 years, I think.
I never do. That's so wrong.
Right?
That's so wrong. You don't have to
I've
be
heard-
there 2 hours early.
I've heard 2 hours.
I do.
But
I bet
usually
that's
it's
Well,
hour.
maybe
Yeah.
that's recommended in order that you have a relaxing.
I'm just saying it's been,
Relaxing
that
journey.
way, Jim,
Or not
for
miss
But
the
if you
flight
want
many
pure
years.
terror, you got to
Yeah.
cut it a little shorter. So this time I really cut it to 35 minutes. So I figured, okay, I'll get to the airport. I'll have 35 minutes by the time
Which
I get
airport is
into the
this?
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, Lauderdale.
So
And you're thinking it's early, there's nobody there. That's what your thoughts.
yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
thinking I'm just
all
gonna it's an hour flight, I'm gonna just zoom in and zoom out. So I ended up working until 12:30 that night, right? So 12:30 morning, I had to get up at 4. So I set the alarm. I wake up at 4:19. The alarm never went off.
Yeah, I think I'd not go to bed at that time. It's
Uh,
12:30. I got to get
I
all
was
night. I think I'm like,
I didn't even want to do what I was doing before I left, but I had to straighten everything up before I left, right? So I was exhausted. So I hop in my car late, haul down there, get to the airport, go to the ticket thing, and the guy goes, "You're never going to make it." I go, "Yes, I am."
Let's
Right.
go.
So the next thing I know, I'm going into the X-ray thing, and the lady in front of me doesn't speak any English. Now,
Body
Mike, you're gonna
search.
laugh. You're gonna laugh about this. The lady was Latina,
Okay.
so she was in front of me. Seemed like a nice lady or whatever, and then her bag was too big to carry on.
Oh,
So the TSA people are telling her, you can't go through. You got to check the bag.
And she's smiling,
She has
nodding,
no
'cause she
idea what's
understands
going on.
nothing,
And
right?
then the TSA,
yes. Check the bag. Check the bag.
and the TSA agent starts getting attitude, and she's like, I don't speak Spanish. This is your problem. She's talking in English to this lady,
Yeah.
yelling at her in English
Awesome.
that she doesn't speak English.
That's how it
right?
works. If you get louder, they'll eventually understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Right. You just yell louder. So the lady kept going, K, right? Because she didn't understand. So I'm trying with my broken English to tell her because I want to get in front of her so I can get onto my flight.
Right.
They won't let me go because they stopped everything. Now they're waiting for other TSA people to come. I'm
Wow.
sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, right?
Perfect.
So I'm saying, your bag es más grande. That's all I'm saying, right? And she kept going, K, and I'm the only one trying to speak Spanish to her.
I bet you
Right.
she spoke English perfectly.
That would be funny.
Right.
More than likely.
Right.
So,
She's just like,
I
what?
get through, I finally get into the x-ray, and my bag goes to the x-ray. I have so many cords. I had my computer and all my cords and everything.
Oh, yeah.
You look
So that
dangerous.
was it. They shut it down, and they were like, open up your bag, open up everything.
Pull it all out.
And I'm like, oh my God. Right. So then they let me get through. I don't have time to put on my belt and boots. So I'm running down the airport like O.J. Simpson in the Hertz commercial.
Nice.
With
You're
my belt.
jumping the luggage.
Yeah, and trying to get over there, right? And I'm not going on the little rally things. I'm running down the thing like crazy. I go to gate C7. I'm not at C7. I'm at A5. C7 is my seat.
Oh.
Oh.
C7 and A5 are like all the way across the airport from
7C.
each other,
Oh.
right?
He's 7C.
C7.
That's your
Oh.
dyslexia.
Well, I was
kicking in
supposed
there.
to go to A5.
Yeah.
So then I haul across the airport to A5. People are looking at me, right? And I'm hauling.
Didn't
I'm
we just see
breathing
you?
heavy. I'm breathing heavy and I'm sweaty and I got
Yeah.
all this bags jiggling around.
And you didn't
stuff.
have time to shower before you left. So you probably
No, I
smelled.
had time to shower.
And you look like
And then-
OJ.
yeah. And then
I can,
I get to the gate and they go, we're not letting you in. And
They had already closed the doors.
3 minutes. I missed it by 3 minutes.
Wow.
The whole thing. So then I said, okay, give me another flight. So I spent there like an hour and they couldn't figure out how to make it. I would have got to Tampa at 1. The conference was ending at 5.
Mm.
So then I was like, maybe I should just drive from Fort Lauderdale to Tampa. I'd probably get there in 3 hours or
You
so.
had
I'm
time,
guessing.
sure.
And then I get there at 10. I'll be a little late, but I'm there. I was so exhausted
Yeah.
that I was thinking if I'm driving down Hurricane Alligator Alley by myself, right, I might like doze at the wheel. And I'm like, the universe is just telling me
Don't
today's
do it.
not a good day.
Yeah.
So I went home.
Did you check to see if that plane made it safely? Or
I did.
they have
Well, I
problems?
didn't hear about any crashes, so I assume
Okay.
everything went fine.
Yeah, I think we'd have heard.
Right.
But oh my God, so I never missed a
I'm
flight.
stunned
before.
that you only give yourself a half hour between arrival time to gate time, and that was your plan.
Yeah, that was my plan.
Almost made it.
I
too.
would have made it. I
Almost.
would have made it. I would have had
Yeah.
10 minutes to spare if I did it right. If I didn't miss the 20 minutes when I woke up, and
Didn't
the
go-
lady didn't
Didn't have
and
the lady.
And
Yeah,
let's
get
just
the
say I had the
Celia
computer,
wasn't
but
there,
let's
and
say,
he went to the right gate.
and
No,
I went to the
and
right
cords,
gate. I would
the
have.
cords in the back.
Well, the cords I could even had the cord thing happen if the
Mhm.
lady and I didn't wake up late and I didn't go to the wrong gate. So it was all my fault.
Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I think that's what it boils down to. You should have gave yourself more time.
yeah. It was
Pretty
it was-
much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wonder, we should have callers. What's the minimum of time that you allot yourself to on a travel? I mean, I haven't traveled by myself in a while, but
So
so it's always you have.
there are variables, right? Including how much sleep can I get? Like, I understand his play. I really
No.
do.
Yeah, I was just trying to get us. I was so
But
tired when I went to bed that night.
I think I'm
was
packing
like,
it in. I think I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm up and I'm leaving for the airport a little earlier than I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
wouldn't do the
what it
all
is.
nighter. I'll take 2 hours of sleep over no
Would you?
sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used
Yeah,
to
for
do
sure.
no nighters, all nighters all the
The
time.
kids will
in
do that.
college and then journalism. I used to do it all the time, and I used to thrive on it. I used to like it, but I'm old.
Yeah, that's
now.
when you were in your 20s,
And
right?
getting
Like,
blotted.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I like my
getting
sleep. now.
blotto.
I don't know. What time did you? Because you went to bed at like midnight or dark 30.
12:30.
What
Yeah.
time did you get up that morning? The morning before?
Oh,
I worked like a 17-hour day that day.
Oh yeah, man.
That's why I was so exhausted.
I don't know. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
2 hours is gonna crush me. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm getting
Oh, I
up.
wouldn't have got up.
I
I
wouldn't have
probably
got
wouldn't have got up.
up.
I
Yeah.
would have just, it's like, yeah. So then I had to sheepishly tell everybody that I didn't make the flight. It was so embarrassed.
Did
I'd
you
tell
lie or
all
did you
the
tell the truth?
managers at the office, sorry, I'm not coming because I didn't make the flight. That's so lame.
were you supposed to were you presenting or something?
No, but
You're just part of the
the
session.
what they do is the regional meeting, they take the top 20% of all the agents in the company, and this happens all over the country. It's just this was our regional meeting, and our region is everything south, east, and west south of Lake Okeechobee. So everything south of Lake Okeechobee is us pretty much, right? Naples is south of Lake Okeechobee, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like kind of
Yeah.
just a little south. It's
Pretty
almost direct. Yeah. So everything south of Lake Okeechobee all the way down to the Keys. So there's like 6,000 agents in that group, and then they take the top 20% and invite them and say, we're going to teach you set your goals for next year, and also we're going to teach you what's happening in the market next year so that you know how to get your way through the market.
Ironically, one of his goals was to not miss any flights next year.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of crazy. But let me get
That
to
is
the
crazy.
let me get to the shout outs here. Let me just pull it up here. Johnny, why don't you tell people about how they can get in touch with us while I'm pulling up the shout outs?
My pleasure. So if you'd like to be a part of the program, and why would you not want to be a part of this program? 877-927-6969. Not only you got the info side, you got questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, you got pros to handle just that. And you can be part of the entertainment side as well. That's infotainment. Of course, you always have access to the entire team. If you're not comfortable on the radio, I totally get it. Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com. The one-stop real estate shop. You get all the pros at one place. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Thank you, Johnny. My first shout out goes out to Maggie and JR, one of Johnny's good associates. Thank you, JR. I keep calling him Carl. JR is great, and Maggie's great too. This is the couple that's moving to Ireland. So anybody listens to the show a lot, this is the Ireland couple. I'm really excited that they're moving out there for them. We put their house on the market. How long ago? We put their house on the market. Let's see. We put it under contract on the 12th. So we put the house on the market on the 7th. We went under contract on the 12th.
Awesome.
Pretty nice. 5 days. Got full list. We just had the inspection. Got the note yesterday.
Beautiful.
We're not doing any. The buyer said we're done with the inspection. We're waiving it. They're happy with the house as is. I'm not too worried about the appraisal. There's nothing to worry about on the appraisal on this one because the house is in such good shape. So they're moving to Ireland. So when I called Maggie and JR yesterday, let them know that the house inspection went well. They go, oh, yeah, we're sitting here celebrating right now. We're so happy. So
Nice.
I'm happy for them. Thank you. Thank you to Anne Marie. Anne Marie is selling a small villa in Lake Worth. It's going to be a nice villa for somebody. Listen to this. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's a 55 over community centrally located in Lake Worth. It's a little west. It's closer to the Turnpike than it is 95. Really good neighborhood. And HOA is really low. And we're going to be putting on the market at $255,000, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And it's a villa, Mike. And it's a real villa. It isn't a condo.
Okay.
So what does that mean when it's a villa, not a condo?
It's single level attached.
Mm-hmm. No, but I mean for financing. I'm
Oh.
sorry.
Oh.
You're the mortgage guy. I was talking about the financing.
Sorry.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I would have done,
Right.
Mike.
I thought you were testing me.
You're the mortgage guy.
That's fun.
It's funny. That's
That
funny.
means there's no complications related to condos,
Mhm.
right? Which you could do FHA, VA, USDA, conventional, all the normal.
You could
loans.
do all the loans,
Yeah.
right? You're not
Well,
restricted.
maybe not USDA, but
Well, and not USDA.
because that's location specific.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
We don't have a lot of that in South.
Martin County.
For sure.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah.
So, other thing we're going to talk about today in the news, and this is really interesting. I don't know if you read it, Mike. So I might be throwing you under the bus here a little
All
bit.
right.
But did you see that Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae or both of them are going to start creating a list of eligible condos to finance? They're coming out with the list a real list.
No, I've got that. Yeah.
No, it's a new list. From what I read, they're creating a new kind of list, and they're telling everybody what they don't like about the condos that aren't financed. Like, I don't like the reserves, I don't like the insurance,
I mean, they already
that kind of
have
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it.
Mhm.
You want to talk about it now?
No, we're
Okay.
going to do it later, but this is related about financing. So a lot of people come to us, and that's why we're going to talk about this a little later. A lot of people come to us and they say they want to buy a condo because of the price point in South Florida. But what they don't realize is with condos, if they don't meet certain requirements, you can't use all types of financing. So, like, for example, this villa, you could use 3.5% down FHA financing, right? Low down payment financing. But if it was a condo and it didn't have the proper reserves or some other issues that we're going to get into later, you wouldn't be able to do that. You would have to put down what, 25% down usually, Mike?
Yeah, if it didn't have reserve. So let's just put it this way. So when you're buying a condo, not only do you have to qualify as the borrower, but the condo project also has to qualify.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's a really simple,
Yeah.
nice, simple way for people to grasp that, because it does get very confused people. So we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But thank you, Anne-Marie, for trusting me to sell your unit. She lives in New Hampshire. So we're selling her house down here. So we're taking care of everything. We're going to bring in the cleaning service to clean the place. We're going to bring in a got chunk company to come in and take everything out of the house that she doesn't want.
Mhm.
We are going to try also with Faith Farm or those kind of groups to take the stuff that's useful for other people and get that moved out of there. And we even have a little car to sell as part of the process. I'll have to find out more about it. I don't have the notes in front of me. But Anne-Marie came
What kind
to
of
me.
car?
That's what I'm saying. It's a Chrysler 2011.
Okay.
And it, but I don't remember the type of car. I don't remember the brand because I've never heard of this. It's like a number. It's
the
not like
Chrysler 300.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think it's the Chrysler 300.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
The number?
So we're going to either be selling that. So if anybody's looking for an inexpensive car, it runs. I'm not guaranteeing anything on the car, but they really want to move it.
The phone lines are about to blow up.
Yeah, so if
you're
anybody
selling cheap cars.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if
Get a
anybody
deal.
has cash and they want to buy the car, they have the title, it's all legit. Give us a call. If not, we're going to go to a charity group and then donate the car to charity so that the charity can get some money. So that'll be cool.
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Now you could throw in the car with the house.
Well, we were thinking
just-
about it, but the car I don't think is adding much value to the house.
Well, you can't. That was going to say you can't
finance it.
It can't contribute to the value of the home.
Yeah.
You just have to be like it's being left at the convenience of the seller.
Let's talk about that a little bit later, Mike, about items you leave in the house and then changing the value of the. Sorry, hold on.
There it is. Somebody wants that
I
car.
want that Chrysler.
Yeah,
somebody wants that car.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Sorry about that, guys. So Anne-Marie, thank you so much for trusting us to sell your villa. What is especially nice about this one, and I think you remember this guy, Johnny, because you were working on the full time on the team at this point. But Mark was a person that we helped sell a unit, and then we helped him buy a unit in that community. He was a radio guy for a
Okay.
long time, and he also worked as a spokesman for the county.
Oh, nice.
But anyway, Mark, we met Mark. We sold his house, bought in that community where Anne-Marie lives. They're neighbors. Anne-Marie needed to sell. And Mark's like, you got to go to Jim.
That's beautiful.
So I met with her yesterday, and she gave me the nicest note last night. I didn't even get to respond to it yet. Listen to what she wrote. It was so nice. It made my night. She wrote, Justin, which is her son. Hi, Jim. Justin and I wanted to thank you again for meeting with us. Mark gets extra points for recommending you. I've decided not to sell the car, but to donate it to your friend. Oh, that's so cool. So she wants to give it to our charity. I just got chills. I want to donate it to your friend. I feel good about that. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas, Anne-Marie. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, very cool.
So she wants to help contribute to this group, which is my next shout out is to C. Ron Allen and the Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network. C. Ron had talked to us on the show. We had done a charity drive fundraiser to get some supplies and everything for the kids. He's a mentoring network, so he deals with I don't even know what to call them. I feel bad tagging people, but at-risk kids or something like that. Underserved kids. He's had over, I think, 8,000 kids over 30 years go through his program. So this is real deal stuff. It's based in Delray, but he does everything from Delray to Riviera. And we raised a whole van full of stuff earlier this year, I think in May. And earlier this year, Middle and Mitesh, who are a couple that bought a house through us, said that if we got a good deal on their house, they wanted to donate something for a charity of my choice. So I chose the Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network, and then I matched the money. So we gave Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network $2,000 a couple of days ago, which
Very
really
nice.
helped them out. They already have a program for 8 kids that are going to go to a special music tutoring thing for blues. And they have 8 kids that they're bringing, and it's going to cost $7,000 to have these kids go to this program for a week. So we contributed to that program.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
I'm really happy. So thank you, Middle and Mitesh. You're awesome.
Yeah.
And thank you for giving back to the community. And Anne Marie, thank you for giving back to the community. This
Very
is
much so.
awesome.
Yeah.
So that car is already gone?
I don't know. I don't know. We're
Sold,
going to have
sold,
to see.
sold.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It sounds like it's
If
being
the
donated.
caller could just hold for a second, we'll just do
Sure.
one more shout out.
Sure.
I also want to give a shout out to Katie and John. We've helped them sell 2 houses and then helped them in the process of buying their new home in Lake City. We put their house on the market a couple of days ago. It's the strongest activity I've seen in a month and a half or so as far as putting a house on the market. It felt like the old days. We had multiple showings immediately, and we had 5 offers in 48 hours. And we took an offer yesterday. We got 5% above list price, which is crazy town.
Above list.
Above list price, 5% above list price. I've never gotten 105%, I don't think, in a very long time, over 105% of list price.
That says a lot about not only desirability of the home, but market, your advertising, your marketing. This says a lot about the whole process.
I think that helped a lot, but I was even surprised about the results in this house. I thought it was going to come in a little lower, to be honest with you. But, that's the whole thing. Nobody's an expert, not even me. I can tell you what I think, and I'm usually pretty right, but,
Usually, yeah.
Yep. But we did the right thing.
Sometimes you miss your flight,
And yeah, exactly. By 3 minutes, right? And sometimes you have to listen, and sometimes you really have to listen to your customers. They did not want to put it at the price that I wanted. I felt like I told them, if we put it at my price, we're protecting ourselves from the high interest rates and also the lack of activity from the buyers. That will get traffic in there, and if it's worth more, we'll have a bidding war.
Yeah.
They were like, nope, we're putting it on the market for X, and then we had the bidding war anyway. So I'm like, sometimes you got to listen to your customers. So anyway, congratulations, John and Katie. Really excited for you about that. And I guess we have a call, Jim.
We do, and it goes right along the lines of our shout outs. JR's on the line. JR, welcome back into the show.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Top of the morning.
Yeah.
Were we on the same wavelength?
Hey,
I actually don't think that's Irish. They don't say that in Ireland.
Oh,
But I couldn't.
come on.
I don't know
They're doing
what
every
they say.
commercial.
Well, we Americanize everything.
Every commercial they do.
They use Irish Spring out there, right? They use the soap Irish Spring out there,
That's
right?
the only soap they
That's
have.
the only soap they have, right?
I still use it every day.
Yeah, I do think they use the butter. What's the
Oh yeah,
Kerrygold butter?
Kerrygold.
Curry butter. Yeah, Kerrygold.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
I think they do use that, and of course the Guinness. They
Guinness. I never heard about that part.
yeah.
Otherwise known as mother's milk.
Yeah.
Yes.
JR, my dad and my mom, God bless my dad. When my dad and my mom went to Ireland one time, they were driving, they drove themselves in these small villages and everything. And they were going to this, there was nothing, just fields. My dad said there was just fields. And there was a cul-de-sac or a roundabout in the middle of this thing. So he's driving and there's not a car in the world. And then all of a sudden this other car pops up going the other way. And they do the roundabout, and my dad forgot that he was in a different country, so he went the wrong way. And the other people went the right way, and they got into a fender bender. And my dad said he was so freaked out and upset, right? And the person that he wrecked into, it's like, oh, it's no big deal at all. No big deal. Then the police officer comes, and they started joking and laughing about how funny it was. The crazy tourist went the wrong way. And my dad's like, and then the next thing you know, the police officer's like, there's a pub right around the corner.
Yeah. You don't have any beer. Well, you know why you got a better.
He didn't have enough beer in him. Yeah.
Well.
So that's what they did. So they went to the pub.
America, he would have gotten shot.
I love it.
It's funny. But so John and Katie, thank you so much. once we get this house under contract, he has no more ties to Palm Beach County, and he's starting his new life up in Lake City. So that's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, yeah, they're up
Yeah.
there.
They're up there now.
They've had
Yeah.
their home a few months now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So congratulations, everybody. And Carl, so
Yeah.
Carl, so tell me what it felt like when yesterday you found out that I know I keep saying Carl, and I'm sorry, Carl.
That's okay. That's all right.
How did you and Maggie feel once you found out yesterday that the inspection went fine and they're not asking for anything, they're just moving forward on the deal?
It went perfect. We were really, really excited. I mean, just just another step forward, in a great process. I mean, just we can't believe it's going this fast. I mean,
Yeah.
we put it on Thursday and Friday. The first people walk in the door, and that's the one that give us full offer. And it just really, really worked out perfect. I mean, we're under contract, which is great, but we're waiting for the day we close. So
Of course. Yeah, the deal isn't done until you give the keys to the house and you get the money in the bank.
Knock on a little bit of wood here.
Yeah. I always laugh when people say thank you when I haven't done anything yet.
We're close.
We're close.
Yeah.
We got to close, but we're going to close. And
Yeah.
we've only got what is it, 2 weeks left basically of the year. If I can get through this, I think I'm going to have 0 expired or canceled listings this year.
Excellent.
Which is, I've never had that in any year ever in the 12 years I've been a realtor. Now, it isn't like I get a whole bunch of canceled expired. I think
Right.
last year we had 3 or 4 out of 100 deals or something like that, 100 total deals. But it's nice. I hope I have a zilch on this year. It'll be nice to have no canceled expired. Sold everything that I took. That's going to be awesome.
That's
Very
beautiful.
nice.
Nice little line on the back of the baseball card.
I know, and it's just about me. It's all about me because it's just a stat that I like having in my head. It is a matter in the world, in the real world. But Carl, I'm so excited for you that we got to this next step. And let me tell you something. Carl and Maggie did it the right way, okay? Because they did put their house at the upper limit of that neighborhood, right, Carl?
Correct.
Okay, but their house, they spent a lot of time staging that house and making sure that it was really on point. They wanted the most money possible, so they made their house look like there was value in getting the most money possible.
I mean, I tell you, I saw the pictures of that home.
It's nice.
And it looked like a model home. The way they had.
The
And I don't know
stage.
if that's how you guys lived as far as like the decor, or if that was set up for sales.
That-
But it
yep,
looked super
That's
clean
exactly-
and
that's exactly our decor in the house.
wow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The only thing that they did a little different is that they moved the dining room table just to show that the living area was a little larger. I really think that made a big difference in the photos. And they were like, we don't have a dining room table anymore while they're eating for a little bit.
That dining room table can fill a lot of space, so I can see really opening that up.
Yeah, especially when you have a smaller living room,
Yeah.
dining room, and it's combined together.
Mhm.
Just taking that table out and the chairs. And if you're going to leave the table, what I always recommend is only leave 2 chairs in the photos, instead of having 4 chairs, so it doesn't look so cluttered. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you're kind of looking at the space and not the furniture.
Sure.
But man, they touched up paint. They cleaned the grout on the tile.
Mm-hmm.
They had a company come in and do that. They just put everything where it belonged, and the photos came out so nice.
Excellent.
So I'm really excited for you guys. We're almost there. So you got to get a plan for the doggies to get to Ireland because you're
We
going.
got a plan already.
Yeah,
got a
good,
plan.
good. I can't believe.
What was neat was we got to meet the future owner yesterday. Here
Cool.
also with the inspection,
Mm-hmm.
and she said she couldn't believe how big the house was inside from when you see the outside. The outside looks like a little house,
It does.
and when you walk inside, it's like a total different house.
And
You walk inside.
the other thing I love about their house is the color scheme that they paint on the inside. I call it like a creamy yellow on some of the walls. And it just gives a light, bright, airy feel when you walk into that house. There's no like dark spots anywhere really. And the other thing is their backyard is gorgeous. They are very good gardeners. They have a lot of lovely plants out there, and they have a really big paver deck patio out there.
Nice.
You could just hang out there, have a cup of coffee or a Guinness, and just really enjoy just hanging out there. I'm sure you get a lot of butterflies with all those plants.
No, none at all.
Well, if the dogs don't chase them away, right? So, but Carl, thank you so much for you and Maggie for trusting us to walk you through this deal. It's a big deal. You're going through a big change in your life, and you're moving to another country. So just hoping that you feel that we took a little stress out of your life by handling a lot of things, so you don't have to worry about it with us.
Yeah, it was a lot of stress, actually.
Yeah,
we did great. You guys did great. Yeah, really happy.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for calling today.
Yep, and we'll talk to you during the week.
Awesome, man.
All right, brother.
Yep.
Hey, have a good rest of your weekend, and if we don't speak, happy holidays for sure. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I know we're right up to the finish line right there, but it's coming. I know Jimmy D's pretty confident.
I can't wait to hear about the experience in Ireland. Yeah, I mean,
I know
with moving to a different country and like that, and having somebody that's close enough to us to tell us the process as he goes through it. I'm interested in it. It's fascinating.
I know. I'm going to be really excited about it too. And at least Carl has, Maggie is from that area, so she knows how to like live in Ireland. So she's got the routine down.
And if you get some updates during the penthouse during the week, you'll have to make sure you share on the locker room.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah,
you may get some penthouse updates.
I hope so.
Quite possible.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much. And Carl told me that he's been listening for years and years because he's a big ZZR fan, but he told me that he never had an inkling of thinking about hiring anybody else besides us. Awesome. And we're showing him what we say on the air is what we do. So thank you for trusting us on that. And I feel like I have one more. Who was it?
Let's do a reset.
Let's do a reset. I'm sorry. And
what are we going to talk about when we come back?
Let's talk about interest rates first. That's some really good news happening right now. And let me just tell you something. How many buyers were listening to the show over the last 6 months where I said, you better get ready because if the interest rates drop, you want to be prepared to take advantage of the interest rates. So
we talk about it a lot.
Yeah, know your numbers, baby.
So if you listen to us, you're going to be pretty happy because the interest rates are significantly slower. And if you haven't listened to us, you still got time.
Well, Mike's been telling you like every time he opens his mouth, like if you say I'm waiting, he'll say for what? And if it's interest rates to drop, hopefully you've been ready to fire. And if it's something else, we see if that lines up. So we may have some great news. We'll get into that and so much more. Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a team of pros. They're experts in their field. You get them all at floridatalkrealestate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. You got a hotline there? You want to get on the phone? You can dial it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 888-973-7828. Find that hotline at floridatalkrealestate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives at floridatalkrealestate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We're everywhere you need to be. Find your favorite show at realradio921.com. Here's the latest with weather on Real Radio.
From the Gordon and Partners Weather Center. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Collins with CBS 12 News. A windy and cloudy start to the day with on and off showers and thunderstorms through this afternoon. Rainfall could be heavy at times with potential for a few isolated strong to severe storms through this late evening. Some lingering showers for Sunday morning, then drier and cooler weather arrives next week.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you like using debit over credit, shouldn't you also get rewarded? Well, now you can with Discover Cashback Debit. It's a checking account that rewards everyone with cash back on everyday purchases with no fees, period. Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Back at it on a Saturday. Great to have you with us. You're welcome to be a part of the program. If you'd like to jump in with questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, do not be shy. 877-927-6969, toll free. Jimothy will answer that line and get you going. How you doing there, my brother?
Doing mighty fine. Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning to you as well. I'm your boy, Johnny C., of course. Mike Rouse, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. He's right over here. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great this morning.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
as always.
Good morning, everybody.
Jimmy,
Look at one of these comments. It's got me thinking. Go ahead,
happened?
introduce
What-
you.
what-
We'll
no,
come
what
back.
Comment.
What's going on?
What Jim was talking about, he got I think he said both things. He got 5% over list price on the one, and then you came back and said it was 105% of list. And it seems like PF is saying those aren't the same things. And I'm thinking to myself, are they really not? If 5% over list is not the same as 105% of list?
Yeah, that's.
I feel like they're
it's
this.
not 105. Well,
I think it is.
Of the list?
some part. I kind of understand where PF's coming from. He might be thinking that we got 105% above the list price.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I think that's what he's
So
thinking.
if
I'm
you heard
saying
of-
I didn't mean that.
If you
What I
heard
meant,
above,
I was
if you heard above instead of. So it's
Right.
105%
of the list price. Right.
Right? Those are the
5%
same
over.
number.
He might have heard above.
Yeah, and
Which
it-
is
which would be
dramatically
totally wrong. That would
different.
be we'd be more than doubling the property value. So we didn't
Right.
do that, PF, and I would never exaggerate that. That we got double for the house. I would be saying double.
No, I-
So
Pretty sure that would be like some kind of record or something.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
yeah, probably. So
You might have done that in your early days. Like you just really had no idea what the value of the
Yeah.
home was. I listed for 50,000.
Jim DePola is, of course, our fearless leader. I call him Jimmy D. You can find him at the Florida Home Bros team. Florida.
So do you
Keller
know?
Williams Innovations.
Thank you,
I
John.
love it so much. Woo! It just tickles me. I'm
Do
such
you
a
see?
pro.
Do you see what I put
That's
on your tag for your name today?
I
What did
happened?
I put on your tag on the show? I put something funny
Says,
in there.
hello, my name is.
What did I put for
Dummy.
Johnny?
He doesn't have a tag. He doesn't have a
Wait,
banner.
What are we
What do you
talking
mean?
about?
Mine
Oh.
says Mike Rao, the mortgage guy.
Yeah,
Yours
but-
says Jim DePola,
and what
Florida
about
Home
Johnny?
Pros with KW. Johnny has nothing.
There's nothing there.
I
screwed everything up today. Sorry,
stands
John.
on his
I
own.
put something funny on there. I thought you were going to see it and make a comment. No, it didn't happen.
What were you going to put?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to do it next time.
Okay.
Oh,
We're talking about the live stream. You can stream with us, Facebook and YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate on both.
Johnny C Live.
So
Facebook,
so
YouTube.
Today feels so much like August 10th, okay, of 2023. And August 10th of 2023 had 5 glorious holidays. National Spoil Your Dog Day.
Spoil Your Dog Day.
Okay.
August 10th, 2023. National Lazy Day. I like that one. National S'mores Day.
They're all coming together, actually.
Yeah.
World.
Don't spoil your dog with s'mores, though.
Yeah, that would not be good. The chocolate.
Yeah, right.
World Lion Day and Vlogging Day.
Now, lion as in the king of the jungle?
Yeah, Lion, not Lyin.
Yeah.
Not Liein.
Yeah.
Like a lion.
Or Lie, yeah, or Li. So August 10th is the national holiday for all those things, but it's also the last time we were down to 6.95% for interest rates for Freddie Mac. That's the report that came out on Thursday. We're down to 6.95. We actually broke under 7 before the end of the year. The last time we were under 7 was August 10th, 2023. Not too long ago, right? Not too long ago, but it's better that we're going down. So we've had the highest increase in interest rates for the second time in 2 years, when we were going up to the 7.79 we got to this year, right? And now we have the strongest decline in interest rates ever recorded since they've been tracking this stuff, right? It's never been recorded that the interest rates have dropped this fast, this low.
Like, ever.
No, never happened. Never happened.
What, in 1, 2, 3,
7.
Even through all the QE.
7 weeks, not quite a point.
Yeah, not quite a point. So we never had it before.
Even through all the QE, like even in all that down push, that's
Yep.
that's
Now,
So-
did the Fed rate drop or?
Well, what the Fed did, and this is
No, it didn't, Jim.
Yeah, it didn't drop. So what the Fed
So,
the Fed decided to hold tight on
Okay.
Wednesday.
All right.
And I didn't get to see the report or read the report because I was missing my flight and then going home and sleeping. That was Wednesday. But what I was really stunned when I woke up to hear how it seemed like that meeting was like rainbows and unicorns and
stock market loved it.
I know, and I'm like, what the heck? But
Record.
the stock market was
Record highs.
wrong about that.
Yeah, but they loved
early
it.
there.
They
yeah.
loved the news. They all went speculative crazy.
Why does everybody think those guys are so smart? Those stock market guys, right? Everybody gives them so much credit, and to me, a lot of it is buffalo mentality, buffalo herd mentality.
Most.
What the other person's doing, they all follow. I
Yeah.
mean, there's hardly any creativity over there. I feel like sometimes,
But it responded well.
but they think that they're
we hit record highs. If you're invested, cheers. If
Yeah.
you're not, you
Yeah.
don't care. Like I don't care.
Yep, exactly. So, Mike, 695. Just out of curiosity, when we were up to the almost 8s, right, or people getting 8s, because
Sure,
the
close to 8,
779
yeah, sure.
was just the Freddie Mac prime or average. How much of a difference is it for buyers right now, being at let's say 7.8 versus 695? And
Yeah,
be
no,
real, like if it's minimal, just say not much. Or
No, I don't. I mean, it
whatever
can make
you
a
think.
difference. So it depends on your loan amount, obviously.
Mhm.
But I could just like bring up something and give you real numbers if you want. Like let's say you're doing what? Give me a loan amount. Or a
Okay,
purchase
so
price.
let's just say that you're
Purchase price.
let's
What's
just
the
say-
average in Palm Beach County?
yeah. So right now it's 625 basically. Yeah, can you believe
That
that?
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Sell, baby.
All right, let's say
My
that
God.
price point, you just sold your
Reminds me.
home, you're doing 20% down, conventional loan, and the difference between 7 and 6. Okay, I'm sorry, between 8 and 7. Can we
Mhm,
do that?
That would be better.
8, 7. All right. So the principal and interest payment at 8% is $36.68, and it's $33.25 at 7%.
How much are we borrowing again?
You're borrowing $500,000, one half of $1 million.
Okay.
$500,000.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
So that's
not?
about $320 savings a
Yeah,
month?
so it's $3,670 to $340.
Yeah, so you save $340. You buy
the
the same
1%
exact
drop.
house with the 1% drop.
That's right.
So
That's your
it does
homeowners.
help. It does help. That's
And if you've been like shopping in the last month and a half, you've seen that movement, right? Like you have really seen that movement. So you're basically your payment has dropped $300 if you were shopping at 600,000 7 weeks ago compared to right now.
How about that?
Now, that's like, and that's where we talk about if you're an active buyer, you were, knew what you were looking for, you could have taken advantage of that. Now, what's happened with housing prices? Probably not enough, not much yet. But Jim just said he had one that went on, sold in 5 days. One sold at 105% of list price. Like, so you can see, I mean, it's very isolated, but you can see, like, my mind is like, okay, so if you're waiting, I'm waiting for the rates to drop. No, you can't just wait for rates to drop, because if rates drop enough, buyers are coming out. And if buyers come back out,
I see what you're saying. Now
inventory still stays tight and housing prices would go up a little bit. You would think, like, that's kind of natural.
Yeah,
So that's why you can't just wait for one thing. I'm waiting for rates to drop. No, you can't do that. You have to wait for your number.
Your number.
And if your number was $300 lower than what you were looking at 7 weeks ago, guess what? You had the opportunity. That target would have presented itself.
I got a random question. When we're talking about locking in a rate, does that mean you're at that point? Like, when you lock in your rate, are you're grabbing that loan right then and there, or you have a time frame where your rate's locked, right?
So usually when you're locking your rate when you have a close date, because then you have a window of time that you need.
Okay.
Like, so you're locking on a 30-day lock or a 45-day lock or a 60-day lock or a 15-day lock, whatever is necessary to get you through closing. And usually you're locking your rate to protect against market movement, but really what you mean is to protect against upward market movement.
Exactly.
But you typically it means you can't take advantage of downward market movement.
So the only way to take advantage of downward movement
is float.
Is the float, and help me in this scenario. What if your close date changes? Can you then change your rate?
No, you extend your lock.
There's no option to get a new rate. The only thing you can do at that point is extend your lock.
Yeah, it's like,
what if you're like, I don't want to extend that lock. Let's go ahead and get the new one because I'm not locked.
So they have rules against that type of activity. And the reason is, like, I guess it has to do with like what's happening behind the scenes with lenders.
Gotcha.
So when you lock your rate, that loan gets put into a bucket, and they call it the hedge, right? Because you're hedging against market movement, right? You're kind of hedging your bet. So all those loans are in a bucket, and they're basically committed at that point post closing, meaning you're going to close on your loan. You have X amount of days to deliver it to whatever the next step is as a mortgage-backed security, and you're in a bucket of loans that were all locked in that pool and whatever you're going to be delivering. So, you can imagine, like, what's the point of locking a rate if just like 2 weeks from now rates have come down? Oh, I'll just cancel that one. I'll start out. So no. So once you basically, the loan is the buyer and the house, that combination together is the loan.
Gotcha.
Right? So you can't just like let it expire. I mean, there's rules against it. Now, what most lenders do have is a float down policy. The float down policy means if the market has shifted enough where there's some financial sense to it, right? It's about like not losing money from a lending perspective. So if the market has moved enough, you can take advantage of downward market movement
with a little fee,
or it's moved enough where that fee is covered, right? So there is some sort of cost to lowering your rate when it's already locked in, right? Or to shifting that loan's position in the hedge or what, I don't know. I'm not in that world enough to really understand it, and I was able to do that. I had several loans where I was watching. I saw this movement. It was probably over a 3-week period. I also lost a loan to this market movement. I mean, I couldn't, I wasn't in the float down window, which is like X number of days before closing. And so we have rules, like you can't just float it down anytime. You have to wait until you're like, whatever, in this case, 15 days out from closing. Then you could take advantage if you meet the float down.
How small is that window?
Well, it depends. If you're on a 45-day lock and the rates moved in a 3-week period, I'm still not 15 days for my closing, right? So I was about a week away from being able to float it down. And the borrower was just like, hey, we know rates have moved, Mike, right? Yeah, rates have moved. Yeah, we'll probably be able to float it down. I don't know what they're going to be a week from now when we're able to do that.
Right.
And she said, well, I got to talk to this other line. I said, yeah, I think you probably do. And if they got something, then maybe I'll still, I had a chance to get the loan back, which, I hated doing, but I kind of had it in the first place. So I didn't mind that much.
Yeah.
But they were still, I wasn't better. It wasn't like, it didn't make sense for them to switch back. So I lost one, but I also had several loans where I was able to float them down and probably moved 3/4 of a point on both of them.
And that's not, and I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead.
No, I remember one of the customers we talked about on the show, because it was one of our customers. Was it Jimothy or who was it? I can't remember.
No, it was just, it was like in the last, month and a half.
Yeah,
So, like,
but there was one of our buyers
was
that
one
you
of our
did that
buyers.
with, and
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but I was so happy to hear it. And that just shows Mike's always got your back.
Well, exactly. So, like, kind of help me a little bit with this conversation, because float doesn't feel like Mike Rauch's approach.
So float in general, like you either lock your rate or you float it. Meaning I'm not locking in.
You're pretty conservative.
I hate
approach
predicting. Like
you're
I don't
not a predictor.
and why? Because you're going to be wrong as much as you are right.
Right.
And so I've gotten to the habit over the years of advising just to lock in. So once you have a close date, lock it in, set it, forget it.
These numbers work for you. Let's just.
And usually the market isn't moving that much where you're like, you've lost on that decision. Right. And sometimes you definitely made the right decision, because I've seen it where the market has shifted the wrong way on people, especially over the past, 2 years.
You got these handful of float down opportunities you just talked about.
Right.
Here. So you had a few that were like, I'm not locking right now. Like,
no, they locked.
Oh,
so when I say float down, so I'm using the same term, but using it different ways.
Okay.
So rarely do I have people say I'm going to float my rate, meaning I'm not locking. Because I think the market is going to move downward. I predict in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, it's going to be better than it is now. I don't want to lock my rate today. I'm going to lock it when the market shifts in my favor, which of course, when you're not locked, you are subject to market movement
up and
in
down.
either direction.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the float decision, float versus lock.
Okay.
The float down policy means you're locked in, but the market has shifted downward. In order to take advantage of the downward movement, we do what's called a float down, or basically a rate renegotiation.
Okay, and that's, as you pointed out, as long as the numbers all work out on all sides.
There has to be a certain, like the rates have to have come down a certain amount, and the pricing has to either be the same or improve slightly. So.
Okay, so that's even though you're locked, that float down situation exists for buyers.
But if the market, let's say the market got better by 1/4 of a point, that wouldn't be enough to allow you to renegotiate the rate.
Right.
But if it's moved
like 3/4 of a point.
Well, if it's moved, like I think our rules are at least 1/4 of a point and 0.375 better in pricing. Pricing means, like, we talk about the par rate. So the par rate doesn't cost any points, would be 100, right? Something paying 1 point would the price would be 99, right? So
they're paying a point.
Yeah. So, and if it was 99.5, you're paying half a point for that rate,
right? So
right?
it's
Versus 100.
They have their numbers as well, and as long as you can get right into the sweet spot, you have these chances to float down. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I was always hitting float as I'm not locked,
and
that's what I thought. Like coasting.
You know what?
Right.
So let me so remove the word float down policy and say rate renegotiation.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that would make clearer sense. Well, thanks, Mike, because people should know about that. They have options to lock in if they need to. As the interest rates were going up, that was a really good technique if you just chose to use it.
This brings up a good question. So let's talk about what the Fed, like, I think you wanted to get to that. Like, what did the Fed say? What did Jerome Powell say?
Yeah. So here
what was all the hubbub?
Yeah. So here's the interesting part. So this was the last meeting of the year. Almost everybody was betting before the meeting that he wasn't going to raise. When I say he, it's the central bankers, but he's in charge of it. So that he was going to raise the rates.
That he wasn't going to increase.
That he was not going to increase the Fed Reserve rate this
Right.
meeting, and
because they're happy with the way inflation's going. Jobs are, there's a number of reasons why.
we still have a strong job. We still have a strong job economy, if you will.
Yep.
Our unemployment rate's still at 1960s rates. We also have seen inflation kind of being stuck in the 3s. Supposedly, it hasn't really gone down in the last 4 months or something. in my opinion, I mean, my memory. But we've been in the low threes now. They're trying to get to 2. We've been in the low threes for quite a while. It really hasn't gone up.
2% is their target.
2% is the target. And so all of that's looking pretty good. Now, the thing I was surprised about was I think it was 70% of what they do. I think there's 13 regions for the Federal Reserve, and they each have a head for each region. And then they get together and they meet at these meetings, and then they decide what they want to do for monetary policy. But they also do surveys of those bankers. They're called bankers for the different regions, to see what they think is going to happen in the future. And something like 70% of them this time said that there was going to be, they agreed that, I shouldn't say agree, but they all reported back that they were expecting 3 Federal Reserve rate drops next year. When I was driving in my car and heard that, I almost fell, I was like, wow, what the heck happened over the last couple of weeks that would make them feel so strong that they were already predicting 3 rate cuts for next year?
And he's the one who said it.
Mm-hmm. Which
right?
is
he's
really right, which was even more amazing.
Right. He said, so the news, I mean, I watched this one because I wanted to see what did he actually say, because these headlines were going crazy. And he basically said we're not increasing the rate. We're not decreasing the rate right now. Inflation seems to be, our policies seem to have done what they were meant to do. We still, if the economy doesn't do what we want it to do, we're going to bump the rates. So we could absolutely bump those rates if we feel like it's necessary. And then he goes on to say, the group that you're talking about, here's what they all thought in consensus, right? The average, whatever. If we just say, I don't know how many, is it 13?
I think there's
surveys,
13 of them. Yeah,
right. 13 people filled out the form. And what did the majority of them say, or what's the average of what they said? And they say they all are predicting 3 quarter-point drops.
Yeah.
So a 3, whatever. If they go from, what's it at now, 5.5 or 5.25?
Between 5.25 and 5.5.
Yeah, so maybe down to between 4.5 and 4.75. So it's not a direct correlation, but you could expect, if that happens, that if we're at 7 today, would it be 6.25 by the end of the year?
Right.
Kind of.
Right.
Right. That's what you would kind of predict.
But here's the thing, and this is what we all got to remember when you read these great headlines, because I would like this to happen, but it's always nice to be hopeful, but you got to be realistic. So if you kind of anchor in reality, those same, well, not the bankers actually, but the Wall Streeters, the Wall Street guys. Do you remember at the beginning of this year, they were predicting that we already have rate drops this year?
Sure.
Remember? And everybody's like, oh, we'll be in the 5s by the end of the year.
Yes.
Right. That's what people were saying this time last year.
And we could never wrap our brains around that in this room.
Yeah. And we were all here collectively
right?
you guys are on crack. What are you smoking up there? I want some of that too. Because I don't believe, not you guys, I mean the Wall Streeters. I was like, where are you getting this from? And I'm not even that smart about the economy. And I could see that was all smoke and mirrors.
Seems like common sense.
Yeah, and it seems
some
like
of it makes no sense. So they're trying to control inflation, which what they're trying to do is get consumer spending down, right? Reports are consumer spending is just
going crazy.
The roof.
Yep.
Wait till you see the holiday numbers.
They're supposed to be very strong.
And as we're going the opposite direction with consumer spending, even though interest rates are higher and higher, we're spending more for money. We're going the other way hard, and they're like, it's working. We're gonna.
I'm very so this is my sneaky. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, this is why us in this room, we're probably all still thinking so they couched it as, if the economy keeps doing what we want it to do, and then that turns into a party for everybody, right? It really I felt like, so you could see the stock market going up and the headlines, and here we're coming into holiday spending season, and everyone's like, yes, things are going to get better. Yes, next year, let's party, right? And then all of a sudden, if you do that, well, the economy's not going to be doing what you want.
Yeah, January they're going to go, hey, we're overheated again.
Yes, so I don't understand.
I don't understand
clearly,
it either.
We're
out of touch with something.
Yes.
I don't understand how they think that we're right at the beginning of a soft landing, and they're already predicting that we're going to have interest rates drops next year, which is just going to fuel things anyway. And you're going to be back in the same boat, if not worse, because it might get.
There was one question that one of the reporters asked, which was like, is it fair to say that we're not in a recession right now? And of course, Jerome Powell, he said something like, just looking at it right now, there's no indicator. There's nothing that would tell you about our economy right now that we're in a recession.
No,
Right.
nothing
Right.
at all.
And so,
Except for
this,
pay, maybe
so,
pay, but that's
so this is what
that.
this is one of the
Yeah,
things
well, that's always there.
this is one of the things I'm concerned about. Remember when I read that report a couple of weeks ago, I brought it up on the air that there was a theory that you're not reading about much hardly at all, where Jerome Powell doesn't only have to worry about inflation and tamping down inflation and not turning it into 18% interest rates like in 1981, but now we have all this massive debt that we've accrued over the last 10, 15 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Interest,
the
US
whole
debt,
time,
interest,
right,
national
U.S. debt,
debt.
national debt. And
Yeah.
the whole time we were saying at the time, it was cheap money. Go ahead and spend the money because the interest rates were so low. Well, unlike like mortgages where they're locked in at a certain rate for the time that you've borrowed that money, these get reset. The money lent to the federal government gets reset over time. The interest rates change as the economy changes. So somebody mentioned in one of these reports, and it was buried deep in there, that they said the Fed Reserve also has to worry about paying the bills, their bills.
It's self-serving? No.
So isn't it convenient that their interest rates are imagine if like you had a too high credit card and you just decided to tell, the credit card company, I don't want to pay your 19.99%. I'm just going to reduce the rate down to 7%, right? Unilaterally on your own. That's kind of what the Fed can do in order to reduce the amount of payments they have to make for the debt that we have right now. And with these high interest rates, we would never be able, I think, realistically be able to afford this debt that we have. I think it's $31 trillion or something.
Not without stopping some spending.
Right.
Yeah.
Without curbing, which is what normal people do when they don't have enough money. They cut back on expenses, but we don't do that.
We don't do that. But I learned it by watching you, Jerome.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if all this, hey, everything's going great, because they're really worried behind the scenes that if we don't change these interest rates soon, we're not going to be able to afford to pay our bills.
Could
not
be that.
not the American not the Americans necessarily, but the United
That's
States government.
That's a collapse of.
I might be wrong about that. That it's totally theory. I haven't read anything about this, but that's what I'm worried about. Is like there might be an underlying reason why they're saying what they're saying, because I don't see any difference in the economy today compared to the last meeting or the meeting before last. We've had the same numbers: low unemployment, high employment, inflation staying the same, pretty much flat for the last 4 months or so.
So they definitely threw the brakes on the volume of the housing market, but it didn't affect values, at least. Well, maybe regionally, it might be very different where we don't sit, but where we are here in Palm Beach County, St. Lucie County, like it didn't affect values at all. In fact, they're better than they were, right? So the slowing down of the action within the housing, community, it worked. But
yeah,
what else did they really do? Besides maybe a little bit more expensive for us.
They've thinned out the housing economy. Like real estate agents are doing something else, right?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of contraction in the lending world, especially on the support side. So underwriting, processing. So those people had to go out and replace those jobs with some other form of job. I mean, I don't know. So there's been a crunch on the housing industry.
Yes. Which we kind of anticipated.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like, well, that seems like the sole purpose.
Why don't you just take it for what it's worth, though? They're still fighting inflation. They measure inflation. They've got inflation at 3%. They want it to be at 2%.
There it is.
It's headed the right direction, according to them. So
leave it alone.
Leave it alone. We're going to keep
see
watching
what happens.
And see
right?
what happens.
Let's see what happens. I think that it's just as likely. To me, it's pretty much a 50-50 whether they actually drop rates, whether they multiple times next year. It's just as likely that they don't drop the rates and maybe raise the rates once or twice next year if things get heated up. I don't see if they're still telling us that the economy. When I read,
you think there's any chance that like a lot of the people that hold a lot of this, right? So let's just talk about credit card companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Banks. Mm-hmm. They're like, man, you keep doing this, we're gonna have a ton of defaults. We ain't getting none of this money. It's all gonna be bankruptcies.
I mean,
we're going to be the one holding the bag.
the real conspiracy theorist is going to say the credit card companies have said, "Hey, Jerome, can you give us like a really rosy report just right before Christmas? Can you, right? We want people feeling really good
Well,
with about 1 week to spend money.
They got to have room, though.
Right?
They got to have room. If they have room, they'll spend. If there's room on the. But I see, because if the rates keep going the way they're going, there's eventually going to be this like rubber hits the road moment for most people. It's not all. Obviously, there's people that are way more financially responsible than others, but let's just talk about
The great majority.
Great majority.
There's
credit card debts mounting. They're starting to get to where they're like, "Ooh, this is a bubble. Here we go." And if rates keep going up, the decision is I'm not paying my credit cards. Right? It's going to happen first, right?
pretty
Especially
much.
if there's no room. If you have a little room, you keep throwing them in the minimum. But
I think, and traditionally, the mortgage is like the last one.
That's the last one.
That's the one you always pay.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah,
You gotta
that's what
keep
we
your house.
experienced in the last crash.
you let the lights
Was
go
the-
out before you don't pay the mortgage.
And remember, there's a ton of people who don't have mortgages, a lot of equity, no mortgages, a lot of people with very low interest rates. I saw somebody commenting.
I wanted
in
to
there.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Thank you for
But-
all the comments.
Very low
Butcher.
interest rates, and they're in a payment that's comfortable as far as the housing
Sure.
obligation goes.
I understand that position.
Yeah.
You're
in
sit
it.
there and go.
You're right there.
See that?
But Butcher's, it sounds like he might be a mortgage broker. I'm not sure, but Butcher's one of the guys that's been commenting about the things we're talking about on our
Hey,
YouTube channel.
thanks.
Thank you for
Thanks,
checking
Butcher.
this out. But Butcher's saying that he got this great 1.85% 10-year mortgage rate back in when the low interest rates were 1.85% for 10 years, Mike.
You could have had like that on a 30-year.
Not 1.85.
Very close to 2%.
Oh
Sure.
yeah, probably
Sure.
because if you bought down or something.
If you just did it at the right time.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
there's people listening right now. They got a 2 in their first number. For
Yeah,
sure.
so-
sure.
Yeah.
For
so-
sure.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is that he has this low interest rate. He's never going to give up his house because of the low interest rate and things like that. I've
And he's
heard
going to
that-
have his loan paid off in
yeah,
8
which
years.
is great. I mean, the guy.
it's awesome.
I'm not saying
dude.
that this guy was very smart in the way he handled his real estate transaction. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
But the one thing I want to say is I hear so many people saying they don't want to give up their mortgage rates, and I always have a little like inside smile or smirk when I hear that, because do you really? It's great if you have a low interest rate if you like where you live in. But if you don't like where you're living, or you wish that you were living someplace else or a different lifestyle or downsizing or growing, but you're really trapped because you have that great interest rate, what you're really making a decision is, I like my interest rate more than I like the change in the lifestyle. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That's a solid decision if that's your choice. But are you sacrificing your personal enjoyment of where you're living, how you want to live and everything, because you just don't want to give up this low interest rate?
Right.
And the other thing that those people are really missing out on, because we've been hearing this since the interest rates were so low. I don't want to give up my 3%. I don't want to give up my 2.65%. But how much have the prices gone up since then? So let's say that you wanted to move to a different type of lifestyle or something, and you're holding on because you have this low interest rate.
Yeah.
But then the house that you would want to buy in the future, because you're probably going to want to buy that thing in the future, you just don't want to do it right now because you're loving your interest rate more than your change in lifestyle. But when you make that decision to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to give up this mortgage because I really want to move here or there, you're going to end up right now. I mean, based on the last 3 years, we have had no price depreciation. There's been no price depreciation, nothing, right? We haven't seen property values go down at all, despite this extreme
Pressure.
increase in interest rates that we've never seen before. We've seen the highest spikes twice in the whole history of covering interest rates, once last year, once right now before we had the 7-week drop. So what they're not looking at now, the good thing is their house is growing in value too.
Is
right?
that
So their
true?
house is growing in value.
Is that true nationally as well?
Not necessarily, Mike, because like where your grandparents live and everything, they did have price depreciation for a short period of time, from what I read. They're in Iowa, by the
Yeah.
way, and then it started smoothing out, is what I read. Like just after the summer, things started smoothing
Right.
out. We're not in depreciation, but I'm talking Florida. We
Yeah,
haven't
there's-
had depreciation in years.
There is some interest rate that would just completely freeze the housing market from a affordability
Mhm.
standpoint, and therefore you would expect prices to drop because inventory is going to increase. Homes are sitting on. I don't know what that 8% we didn't quite get there, but was that it, or is it something like 12%? Right? Like
Right.
what's it going to
Are we
take?
going to go down again and then start
Yeah.
going up?
Well, and
Like,
how-
are we
how-
just doing a reset for the floor and
How
going
many
up again?
transactions is like does it have to stop for that to happen? Because we've had
We're
such
down
a low
30%.
inventory and so low transactions.
You're going to price all your buyers out at some level. Like the
Yeah.
buyers just can't afford it. They
But,
cannot qualify. They can't afford it.
That's true. But when we went through that stagflation in 80, I'm just going to say 1980 to make it easy, right? That was the Carter Reagan period. Johnny was right about this. He read a report one time where it said that the property values didn't go down even with the 18% interest rates. And I was like, what?
Yeah, it didn't
And
go
then
down.
I started.
You looked at it?
Yep. And that report was right that prices did not go down.
Were they
during that, but the sales
depressed?
went down. The
Yeah.
sales went down, which
Yeah.
is what we're experiencing now. We're down
Sure.
about 33%. So we're getting about a third less sales. That's why there's so many agents fleeing the industry
Right.
here, because there's less home. It's almost like musical chairs. So we have 1 million agents, but we only have so many chairs to sit in.
Yeah.
I mean, we always have this, like, the question is like, do I do it now or do I wait? And so number one, the premise is like, it makes sense for you to do it. I'm saying whatever it is, whether that's to sell your home and relocate or just to be a buyer.
Or to
Right.
rent. Yeah, going from renting to buying.
Yeah, or go from owning to renting.
Yeah, that's
right?
true
Like,
too.
so
Because
whatever
I've seen
it
some people do
is,
that.
assume that it makes sense for you, not from an investment and a financial standpoint, but just like a life standpoint. So do I do that now or do I wait? And if housing prices are going up and I'm a seller, Jim, I want to wait to sell it for the most I can. But what's the next step after that? And if the next step is renting, well, if housing prices are going up, rent's probably going to be going up, right? If if the next home you're buying, so if housing prices is going up for the home you're selling, chances are the price is going up for the house that you're buying, right? If interest rates are dropping, the natural, you would think, is home values are going up, right? So yeah, I'm going to wait for the 3/4 point rate drop by the end of next year. What's going to happen with prices in the meantime? And so whenever I look at that, my answer is always do it now, right? Like it doesn't make sense to wait unless you really got a crystal ball and you can say, hey, Liz, I'm going to sell now because I know housing prices are going down, contrary to what everyone's saying. They're going down. I'm going to sell now at the peak. I'm going to buy at some sort of valley. But how hard is it to predict something like that?
So hard.
So that in my mind, and of course, this is like, this is a real estate show and we're professionals in the industry. And it's all, yeah, do it now. But I hope it doesn't come off that way.
Yeah, we've always, for 12 years, we have not been that way. We try to be real with people. We don't give you the National Association of Realtors spin on things and things like that. I'm just not built that way. And nobody in this room is built that way. We want to help people and give them informed, real information that they can use.
Yeah, you do it now if you're like, I'm ready and things are ready. What do you can't wait for I'm waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow is always the worst enemy. It just is. If you can do it now, do it now. Waiting for tomorrow is the worst.
And the other thing is that getting prepared, that if you know you want to do it, but you're not sure it's now, get ready now, right?
Yes.
So that you're locked and loaded. Your powder is dry, as I used to say, right?
Yeah.
Your gunpowder is dry.
Yeah.
And that you're ready to pull the trigger when the right opportunity comes for you. I just had a person, I'm going to be showing the property today. It isn't a big deal, so it's not a sad story, but Steve had called about one of our properties, and he's not represented. He's sophisticated in real estate. He got approved for a mortgage a while back, but then he didn't have an approval again, but he wanted to see the property that I'm selling. Well, I'm seeing with them today, but we had 5 offers and we already took a offer yesterday, right? So we're in contract. He knew that was going to happen probably, so he's just going to look for backup only. But if he had been prepared faster, he might have been in that mix if he wanted the property to get it. He didn't have that opportunity. It isn't a sad story for him because I don't think it was like his
there's other fish in the sea.
Yeah, but still, being prepared and ready for the opportunity, especially if you're tight on money. The people that should be listening to us most carefully about this message, to me, aren't just like everybody, but especially the ones that are really tight, that are being squeezed by rent. They want to get off the shackles of having a landlord tell them what they have to pay every month for their housing costs.
Sure.
And that they really work with Mike and get lined up, really know their numbers, and then get prepared to find something, because a lot of the people at the lower end that are tight because of these high interest rates and high prices, realistically, the houses you're looking for you're not going to have 10, 15 choices if you're super tight, 10 to 15 choices to choose from right now. What's going to happen is we might be looking at 5 houses. You don't like any of them because
Sure.
a lot of the houses on the market are not in good condition based on price. And that's one of the other problems with their inventory. Even though our inventory is low, the choices in the inventory aren't that great either.
Right.
So then you just have to wait, and you just got to twiddle your fingers, watch the market every day.
That's right.
And then when something pops up, it might be tomorrow, it might be 3 weeks from now, but you got to be prepared to pull the trigger when it happens, or you're going to miss out.
Yeah, it's like a progression of zeroing in, right? So number one, you have to know that you can do it, right? So if you need financing, you got to know, do you qualify, and kind of the parameters under which you qualify. Then you need to know your numbers, because my numbers, meaning the numbers you'll qualify under, may be different than your budget, right? And so your number, my number, hopefully they align. Hopefully my number is actually higher than yours. So you have some
like that
flexibility,
all the time.
right? So it has some flexibility, but so you have to know your numbers, meaning you know where you want. And then on the real estate searching side, you have to know the boxes that you need to be checked: neighborhood, bedrooms, bathrooms, pool, garage, whatever, all of those things. And so once you got all that set up, then you're doing your couch surfing, right, Jim? Like you're in touch with it because Jim's pinging you with homes that meet your criteria. And then you can look at the home and you look at the picture and say, oh, that looks interesting. Let me plug in the numbers. Yeah, this is fitting. Jim, can we go set up an appointment? Let's go look at this house, right? And that's the type of like zeroing in. And then once you look at the home, if it's the one, let's make an offer. What's our max offer? What do we want to offer? Right? Like all of that stuff is kind of, you're just slowly zeroing in on that target, and then boom, you're going to get that offer accepted.
And here's the mistake, that if you don't know your numbers ahead of time, because you just said, I saw the property, I checked the numbers, it works out great. If you haven't gone through the process to know what your numbers are, you're going in the blind. Oh, that property looks good. Let me go out and look at that. Oh, it's a condo. I got to put 25% down. I'm out. And they don't know.
Sure.
So,
I mean, if you're a condo shopper, and we talk about condos, but if you're a condo shopper, you need to know more than just your numbers. You need to know, can you buy in that project?
Right. I love how you say you have to qualify the community.
The community has to qualify. And so that's part of the zeroing in. And if you're doing the traditional, like, I got a pre-approval from my lender. He gave me this letter. This letter says I'm good for $450,000. And that's what you're using as like your, your guarantee that you can buy this home, right? No, number one, it doesn't help you know your numbers. 450 is meaningless. It just, it's a broad, way too broad of a number, and you can't really make decisions on it, Jim. And the real estate, and you run the risk of getting into a contract that doesn't close. And which is like, you've done all this work, you found the home, like you've been sitting, waiting, couch surfing, like you found the home, and then you're in contract and you're spending money on inspections and appraisals, and then boom, surprise! Oh, you're not. What's wrong with my loan? Oh, underwriting's sorry, we can't do it.
That's not the time to go through.
Oh my God,
no, that isn't when you want to start finding out that
but
stuff.
There's so many that still kind of operate that way.
It is.
Jim, it doesn't have, like, Jim's a very active listing agent. He doesn't get into deals that don't close because he's vetting the financing on these buyers that are coming to him, and he knows. Wait a second, you got what? What's the date on your pre-approval letter from a month and a half ago?
I had 5 offers yesterday, and I had a vet. All 5, they were all financed, so I had to call 5 mortgage companies and ask them questions about their customers and what they did to approve. Now, I have to say that maybe it's just luck, but lately, almost everybody's given me the right answers about what they do to do the background check. And I think that's partly because a lot of the riffraff is gone now.
That's
And
a good point.
The
People
good
that
ones
are
like
left
Mike
are
or
the
like
pros.
Mike.
Yeah.
I definitely don't. I don't want to make it seem like there's not other great loan originators out there. There are great loan
Of course,
who
just like
do-
realtors,
who have
yeah.
the same philosophy as we do, because there's only one way to be successful and to have legs in this industry, and that you have to have happy clients. My clients happen to be the buyers, the families, but also the real estate agent and the professionals that I'm working with, right? So I value, like, all of them is very important that we have successful closing. And so, yeah, a lot of the ones who couldn't do that, like, if you don't close the deal, you burn that bridge with that real estate agent, right? And especially if it's my fault, right? Like, which never happens. Luckily, doesn't happen.
Yeah, because
right?
you dot your I's, you cross your
Right.
T's.
So,
you know what you're doing.
I
Right.
think that's a good. And there's great LOs in my company, and there's great LOs like regionally. A lot of them more
Loan
successful than
originator.
I am. Yeah,
loan
loan
originator.
originator.
Well, you're
loan
also
officer.
not gonna let something go where you're like, maybe. You're like, no, that's not gonna happen. We're not going. We gotta fix that.
Yeah, I definitely don't deal with maybes. No.
Yeah.
It's just there's too much at stake. There's
Yeah.
too much at stake.
It's really important that you
Like
have
that
the
commercial.
team.
What's that commercial? That's not gonna fit.
Oh, what's
You know
that?
what I'm talking about?
No,
The
I don't
lady
know
that
which
can
one.
tell everything's not gonna fit.
Oh,
Oh, come on, help me with the commercial.
know
I
that
guess
one.
on
Think of it.
Facebook. That's not gonna fit.
Sounds like your personal life. You hear
Yeah,
that?
it's not gonna fit.
let's talk about this just for a couple minutes, and then we're going to take a break. But let's talk about Fannie and Freddie, about this whole thing, about what they're going to do about the condo thing. So it says, the headline in the Sentinel says Fannie and Freddie Mac to share why some condos are ineligible for loans, right? And there was another headline. I have it in here somewhere. But anyway, there was a couple articles about this. Maybe this is it. And then Real Estate News or something, there's another one that says, new tool makes condo financing easier. Freddie Mac's new tool makes it easier for lenders to determine if specific condo qualifies for a mortgage loan. It says buyers can now get a firm answer in, quote, just minutes. Now, this is like a really big deal for me, okay? Because as an agent, trying to find condos that could take low down payment financing has been, heck, I hate doing it. Okay, I'm just being honest with you. To me, it's very difficult to find out these answers because you got to go to the board or the property manager and get this paperwork that, to me, they don't cough it up very easily, so that we have to ask and ask and ask and ask.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing condo financing since I've been in this business, and
So
I learned very quickly what the criteria was.
So do this. Give us a 101. Like, if I were a buyer or Johnny was a buyer saying, hey, Mike, the prices are really high out here. So what I want to do is I just want to buy a condo because they're the lowest price type of unit I could buy down here. So I'm going to go buy a condo.
Yes.
Okay, so give me the 101, because I think a lot of people can benefit from this. What's the 101 about understanding financing for condo buying?
Okay, so the premise is the condo project has to qualify, right? So the condo community you're buying in has some level of underwriting required to make sure it qualifies for financing.
And what would the criteria be for
Well,
that?
let me back up just a hair. So number one, these lists that you're talking about have kind of always existed. How accessible are they is changing a little bit. But if you're a condo shopper, number one, if you're doing a VA loan or an FHA loan, it has to be approved on their list already. So there's a list. They're very few and far between. I would say most of the time you're a conventional borrower, right? So VA, FHA, yes, you can do it in certain projects, but a very, very small number of projects in South Florida. Okay. So you're most likely a conventional loan. Now, traditionally, Jim, I would explain there's two ways to do conventional financing. There's the easy way and the hard way. The easy way is 25, and if it's a primary home, if you're buying a home you're going to live in, 25% down, which is a weird number because most people are like 20% right now.
Right.
25% down, and you can pretty much buy in any condo community. Now, that was the old way. Now I say you can pretty much buy in any condo community, but I still want to see their insurance, because these condo communities are taking shortcuts on insurance, not because they want to, because they have to, right? So their deductibles So the insurance could be a disqualifier. So I would want to see that
Meaning that
regardless of
the
your down payment.
insurance isn't the coverage that Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac feel comfortable about?
Yeah, very simply, let's just take the deductible. So the max deductible that Fannie or Freddie will allow is 5%. Right? So if you have a $30 million policy, your deductible is going to be 5% of that dwelling coverage. But insurers will write it at 10% or 8% or 7%, whatever it is, something higher than 5. If it's higher than 5, you can't do conventional financing. You're now in what's called a non-warrantable condo, and you're in a non-conforming loan world, right? So not a conventional Fannie Freddie loan. All right. So the easy way is 25% down with the one insurance caveat. If you want to do less than 25% down, it's the hard way, which means we got to look at the condo's budget. We got to look at their financials. We got to look at the condo declarations. We got to make sure there's nothing crazy in there. So there's a list. Maybe instead of a 10-question questionnaire, it's a 50-question questionnaire, right? And so, like traditionally, Jim, I would say, hey, listen, we got a condo buyer. You want to do a 5% down? Yeah, we can do it, but not every project. And before we get into contract, I would say, Jim, before you even go look at it, don't take them to look at it until you get me the budget. Because I can tell in minutes, looking at the budget, if they've got the 10%, the minimum 10% reserve position.
The issue that I have a lot of times is that the listing agent doesn't have the budget. And I'm being honest, even when we do the condos, we usually don't have the budget either.
I have tried to educate listing agents because not listing agents have to know what kind of offer they can accept.
Right.
Like if you got a condo listed and somebody comes to you with the VA loan, you should know whether or not you could do a VA loan, because the listing agent has as much at stake as the seller as far as like getting to closing.
Sure.
So you can't just accept any offer. You have to know. And if the budget isn't right, I'll just say it doesn't meet the criteria, you know that you can't accept lower down payment conventional loans. You need cash or you need big down payment conventionals. So if they come to you with 20% down, you should know, wait a second, we're not going to do it. Can they do 25? Because that's what's going to be required. Right. So you have to know that as a listing agent, which means you should have asked for the budget. You should have asked the lending professional who knows their stuff to review it for you. And so you know what kind of offers you can accept. And you should put the budget in the documents section on the listing. So a lot of savvy agents will have that. Right. And so Jim can go to the listing. He can see the budget. He can say, hey, Mike, take a look at this. What do you think? And I can say, yeah, that looks good. So there's some nuance.
There is.
Right, Johnny? You got to be working with somebody who knows how to look at it quickly and doesn't have to wait for an underwriter or wait for the condo desk at the lender to review it.
Right.
Like I can look at a budget, Johnny, but I know a lot of loan originators, that colleagues of mine in my branch and in my company who don't know how to review that. I haven't it's not like super complicated. I could teach it to you. You get it. But some people aren't interested in learning that because I can say, hey, let me email my condo desk and have them review it.
Right.
But usually you're not getting there until you're maybe in contract.
Well, and I think knowing a little bit of the condo process, just because being on the outside watching it a little bit one time, it can be hard to get the paperwork necessary.
It can be.
There's this layer of I need it, okay. I need it, okay. You go through like 5 people to finally get it.
Without hating, I mean, the property management companies have always been difficult to get stuff out of. If you're not a member of the association, especially, right? So who has access to the financials and the budget? Homeowners, right? So if you're the listing agent, you should be saying, hey, Mr. Homeowner, let me see that annual budget. I'm sure they sent it out when they did their budget meeting. You don't have a copy? Okay, well, let's email the property manager. They'll give you a copy.
After 30
they're like,
requests.
they're out of state.
You pay $295, stuff like that. So I get the challenges, and it's always been a challenge. And it's like, I have learned how to, when needed, sweet talk the property management people. I can get in, you don't go in with the hammer, right? You go in with you sweet talk, little honey.
That's it.
There is one thing about this article I didn't understand. The portal, I guess, for the information on the condo's viability for financing is called the Condo Project Advisor. Is that what you've
heard? A CPM,
it?
So Condo Project Manager, and I have access to that, and it's lender. I don't think it's open to the public.
That's what I was going to ask. It isn't clear in this article whether or not regular people can get a hold of that to see what's going on.
I would say you're not going to have access to CPM, so Condo Project Manager, and that's Fannie's product. So They used to. So the FHA list is publicly available.
Mhm.
I've given you that link.
Give me that link.
You've asked me for that link 10 times. Jim,
I
what
know.
happened to the last time I emailed it to you?
It's like buried in my email.
I finally wised it up. I
8,000
said,
emails.
Jim, Nancy has it.
Yeah.
Just ask Nancy.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
So the FHA list is public. The VA list is not. You have to have credentials. CPM is not public. You have to have credentials. Now, Fannie used to have their PERS, Project Eligibility Review Service, PERS, PERS. That PERS list used to be available. Like I had a link, you could just go to it. It was publicly available, and you could see every condo on the list. And you just alphabetical, you go to your condo, and you can see if it's approved or not approved. So the lists have always existed. And so what Fannie and Freddie have done, and Freddie just uses Fannie's tool as far as I know.
Okay.
And so what Fannie has done they've kind of tightened up that condo project manager, and lenders like on the underwriting side have always had access, because if you're registering projects and like getting them to review and everything, you've had that. But now they give a read-only access, so loan originators can have credentials and get in there. And you can basically see, Jim, if you told me I need a list of all the condos, I wish it was county, but you can't search by county. I've actually recommended to them, I need to search by county, because I want to say, give me all the condos in Palm Beach County, every single one that you have. And that criteria, it's either going to say that it's approved, which means, and it has an expiration date, which means there's no project review. So for the easy way, hard way, doesn't even matter. If it's already approved on that list, we can do it conventional loan, any down payment, right? Or if it says unavailable. Unavailable means it is unavailable for delivery to Fannie as a mortgage, which means you can't do the project regardless of your down payment amount. So the easy way, hard way, throw it out the window. It's either approved or it's unavailable, or it's not reviewed yet. And if it's not reviewed yet, Jim, you go back to the individual lender review, which is where we're going to get the 25% down or less than 25% down. It's kind of like the traditional review. And just because a lender says it's good doesn't mean that Fannie puts it on the approved list. You know what I mean? So Fannie has their own review process, and you're not required to have Fannie review the condo. So the traditional method is like the individual lender underwrites the condo. They make sure it meets the guidelines. Then you can do the loan and deliver it to Fannie. But Fannie still has their review service, which sometimes is required, right? So you can send it to Fannie, get it approved on their list, but you can also do it if it's not been reviewed and still approve it on an individual like loan basis.
That's a lot going on with condos.
Yeah. It seems like a lot, but like the thing is, like, what do we always say, Johnny? Like, you don't need to know all this stuff. You just need to know somebody who does know.
You got to know somebody that knows it all and well. And I got a guy. If you haven't been paying attention, you do too. It's Mike Brown, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. You can get him at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
We just went through this, Mike, with one of our customers, Maria, who's a senior, and she's trying to buy a unit. And I'm selling her house right now, and we are taking that money to buy another house. Now, we were going to either do cash and just buy the condo cash. She's buying a condo in 55 over, or, but she's on a very tight budget. And the other option is maybe to do a reverse mortgage loan. Now, when we try to do the reverse mortgage or look for condo communities that will meet her criteria, geographic area and price range and everything, there wasn't anything that we could find for her that would allow her to do a reverse mortgage on the condo in her budget.
Well, reverse mortgage is an FHA project. So it's got to be on FHA's approved list, which last time I looked in Palm Beach County, there was probably 6 communities that were approved.
6 in the whole county.
And there's probably several thousand.
Yeah.
Condo communities in Palm Beach County, maybe 1,000, 1,200, something like that. And you got like 6 of them.
It's like 0.0004%. You know what I mean? Something like that. Hey, I have another question about reverse mortgages.
Okay.
If somebody got a reverse mortgage with you, okay,
we should start. What is a reverse mortgage? It's the opposite of a forward mortgage.
Reverse mortgage is when, go ahead and give a definition of reverse mortgage. Just real quick.
Okay. So with a traditional mortgage, you borrow money and then you pay it back over time. 30 years. Very traditional, right? You borrow $300,000, you have fixed principal and interest payment to pay that loan off in 360 equal payments, 30 years of payments, and your loan is extinguished. The reverse mortgage, you borrow the money and you never make a payment on it. So instead of shrinking through the years, the balance is increasing through the years. So you borrow 300,000, Johnny, you live a nice long life. 30 years down the road, that 300,000 has grown into 700,000.
Okay.
Because you never made a payment on it.
No.
That's the reverse mortgage. So the idea is people who are on fixed income or just want to use their income for living instead of paying a mortgage, you borrow the money and you don't have a mortgage payment.
Just like that.
Boom.
Well, what happens at the end of that?
So when you pass, your estate will inherit your home and the loan that's associated with it. So your estate has to deal with it in some level, right? Sell the home, refinance the home, short sell the home,
or let the house go. You can
let
just
it go
let
to
the house
foreclosure.
go. And if you let the house go, the people the heirs are not responsible for that.
Yeah, they're not going to
situation.
have any financial liability. It's basically just going to foreclose, no harm, no foul to your estate. But that's not the idea, right? The idea is that your home's in a positive equity position. And so it's not as the equity has been eroded through the years because that loan is growing. But the reason the whole reason for the mechanism. So Johnny, that during your life, you have money for living expenses versus paying a mortgage.
Dumping it into your mortgage, right?
So if somebody got a reverse mortgage with you 3 or 4 years ago or something like that, could you actually go into the system and find out how much they owe on the property now, or do they have to ask the bank?
They just like you have a servicer just like you do on any loan. So you just have to contact, and usually there's an annual report there, or, an annual letter that comes out that says, hey, here's the status of your loan. But you do have a loan servicer, you contact them.
Okay. That's what I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So with financing condos, the bottom line on this is that if you don't, unless you got a boatload of money and you don't care because you're putting a huge down payment, okay, you got to have somebody
even do it. Even with the big down
sometimes you
payment.
can't even do it because if the condo isn't insurable, financeable because of insurance alone, you're not getting that. You're not getting that unit.
You just got to talk to somebody who knows who has access to these lists, who can provide information. Like Jim knows enough to be dangerous on it, but not enough to be certain.
No, I got Mike. I don't have to worry
You
about
don't
it.
need to.
Lean on Mike.
Lean on Mike, definitely. That's a good one. Lean on Mike.
And hey, word of caution to the buyers out there: if you're working with a nationally based lender who doesn't do a lot of Florida condo financing, you're in for a world of pain. You're entering, what is it? A world of pain.
Isn't it? Would it be true? I mean, I know you might not.
You might get lucky.
You might know this because you do so many different states. You're licensed in so many states. But do other areas have the same problems with the condos that we do down here, where they don't have the right insurance or the right reserves, and they're not making it? Or if you don't know, you don't know.
No, I would say I've looked at condos in other states, and I would say it is. So number one, the guidelines are more relaxed, like that threshold and if you're not in Florida, that 25% is something like 10% in all the other states.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So the ones I've looked at are much more financially sound than some of the projects you see down here in Florida.
And I should mention why we have such restrictions for condos down here, because it used to not always be that way during the boom of 03 through 05.
Easy to get condos.
You could get condos all day long. That's why a lot of people don't know about the changes. So many people lost the condos during that crash that the federal government is like, we don't think condos are such a good risk for us. And that's why they made way more stringent.
That's right.
Situation. So that's why it is like that.
Lost a lot of money with the crash because condos, they were just let go. Like as many homes, I don't know what the foreclosure rates were, but they were higher for condos than they were for any other type of home.
Yes, they were. People were just walking away from the condos. And a lot of the condos were spec. There were a lot of new buildings being built and people were playing with the money, playing with the no doc loans and then just buying it. So it's like, then it was upside down. I was like, I don't need that condo.
Well,
yeah, it's whatever.
That was my vacation
it was an
spot
idea.
Anyway.
It was an idea. Want to just go over a little bit, just to brighten things up just a little bit.
Well, let me do this. Obviously, through all that talk there, you heard a lot of expertise. Remember, you have pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We call it your one-stop real estate shop for a reason. You got the team of pros. You get them all. They work cohesively together. Experience it for yourself or share it with somebody you know is looking to buy a home, sell a home. They're stuck with the home. They don't know what to do. Everything in between. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com has you covered. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
There was an article in Monday Magazine talking about ranking the 50 best places to live in the United States based on economic activity, quality of life, diversity, and
I
where
got a
the
pretty
best
nice backyard, Johnny. I'll
yeah.
take it. Number one.
So it would be they didn't talk about maybe quality of life is crime, but they said economic activities, quality of life, diversity, right? So three of the 50 cities are in Florida. It's Tampa, Altamont Springs, and Sarasota.
Headquarters of the mortgage firm, by the way, Altamont
I didn't know
Springs.
that.
Oh,
I did
how
not
about
know
that?
that.
It's outside of Orlando.
Just outside, yeah.
I have no idea how Central Florida could be on the list, but I mean, it's nice, but it's not, not near the coast.
And Sarasota, that's the third
Coast,
city, right?
yeah, coast.
I like Sarasota. Sarasota's nice. I like it out there. But this is what I found interesting. I keep talking about these like best places to live in the country and everything, and we have 3 in Florida, but you hardly ever see South Florida anymore. Southeast Florida, you're not seeing Fort Lauderdale. You're not seeing any of the Broward, Palm, or Dade County cities for best of, right? We're not seeing that. And you used to see that, 15 years ago.
Well, if diversity is one of the criteria, maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
Too many people now.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, I don't agree with Money Magazine because you know what they said the best city to live in right now for quality of life and economic activity?
Let's guess. Johnny, you got to guess? The best?
The best. Gainesville.
No, it's national.
Oh.
Right? Yeah,
national?
but he could have picked Gainesville.
No,
that's in the nation.
I was only going Florida.
Yikes.
That's in the nation.
Yeah, no, in the nation. The best.
Jeez. Memphis.
Okay. Jimmy?
Nashville.
Memphis and Nashville are kind of close. It's Atlanta, Georgia. And you know what?
So many people.
Too many people. If you ever drove quality of life, are you talking about commuting? I mean, that's worse than Dade County.
No, you can just work from home.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Anytime you're going to run, every time I'm driving north, I always have to think about that hub in Atlanta where I'm landing, when you're going to be in that geographic area.
What time?
Rush hour traffic or not rush hour.
Yeah.
And then if I find I'm in a rush hour,
yeah,
I'm changing my schedule to make sure I get there before or after rush hour.
Is Denver on that list anywhere?
Oh, good question. Let me see. Okay. There is a lot of little cities that we haven't heard of. Well, let me see here.
And Atlanta used to be, I would say, more on the affordable, but I don't think it is anymore. I think that
I don't
real
think
estate
so.
market is very hot.
Let me see here. What did you say? What city, Mike, did you say?
Denver, I was curious about.
Oh, Denver, which is a beautiful city. Denver's not in here.
Okay.
There's a lot of weird cities like Sparks, Nevada.
Oh, yeah.
Jeffersonville, Indiana. Coralville, Iowa. So at least they've done the research. But you know what else is in the top 50? Juneau, Alaska.
You know that's right. Shout out to Ross.
What's up, Ross Granite's?
Up.
A lot of Georgia's in here. I
wonder if they did some sort of fundraising, like, hey, we're doing an article about best cities. You want in?
You want in?
Yeah. Well, they do that. I just got a thing. They have these publications for realtors, and they send you a message. Hey, you've been nominated to be a top agent for the cover of our magazine, right?
Yeah.
And
it's only going to cost you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And then they charge you. So it's just like total BS. But I know so many agents that do that. It's like, I'm on the cover of a magazine. It's like, yeah, you paid for it.
Lenders do it too. I've seen that.
Have you?
Best lender to work for. And I'm like, I know they paid to get that.
Exactly.
So, to be considered, right?
Come on.
This poll conducted by the Georgia Tourism Board.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing I wanted to talk about was home renovation trends. Martha Stewart her magazine came out with the 10 home renovation trends that are on the way out. And I thought that's always kind of fun.
Out.
Yeah. And what's coming in? I don't want it. So
this is the point where, listen, if you've renovated your home in the past, 5 years, you might want to turn down the radio because you don't want to be told that what you did
is going to be out of
fashion.
Yeah. And some of that's going to happen right now. And let me tell you, I don't agree with some of this stuff. I really don't.
Let me guess.
So
we're talking trends. How old is Martha?
80 something.
80,
She's
81, I
gonna be
think.
the trend.
No, she's got people, bro.
Okay.
She's got people. All right,
I
go ahead.
said the magazine. I didn't
Okay.
say Martha directly. I said Martha Stewart's
I mean,
magazine.
she hangs with Snoop, so
Yeah, exactly.
Is it
right?
the gold faucets? Are they out?
Let me see. I don't know. They might
the
be coming.
kitchen.
They might actually be coming in. I'll tell you
Oh,
why.
all right,
Okay.
all right.
So kitchens without upper cabinets. I don't even think I've seen a house without upper cabinet kitchens down here in South Florida, but apparently that was the trend where you didn't put upper cabinets on your kitchen.
What did you
Wow.
put? Nothing like
Apparently
shelves?
nothing. I don't know, but because I've never seen it, but they're saying that that's out now. You put
so I've seen it where they don't have cabinet doors. It's open shelves.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's
Are
what
they
they're
not considering that cabinets? Because that's still, does it have to have doors to be a cabinet? Is that what we're
That's
doing?
what I
That's
thought, but it
possible, I
says
guess, yeah.
here leaving upper cabinets out of your kitchen plan means giving up valuable storage space. Duh, right? But they're saying that they're doing it for aesthetic purposes of not having the upper cabinets. So I don't even know if it has shelving. But
Well, you might
they're
have
saying
that shelf with the plant on it.
Now
Right,
here's
which is
the
very useful in the kitchen.
here's
Very.
the other trend. I definitely don't agree with this trend. For me, I will never. I would prefer not to have this kind of thing. But no more open floor plans. They don't believe in the great room anymore, right? The great room where you have the kitchen open to the
Sure.
family room and
Yeah.
all that. They want individualized rooms. They want specific rooms for specific purposes now.
I can see
That's
that though.
the
'Cause
trend.
This is a society now that if you walk around,
Mhm.
and again,
Yeah,
never a
please.
blanket statement, but
Yeah.
most people are going to be on their phones doing their own thing. They're not even being social in the same room anymore.
Yeah.
Most.
Yeah.
So I can see the desire to just like fragment off the together all one just isn't. the
I
thing
just like
anymore.
that. For me
Me
personally,
too.
I'm an open floor
I
plan
love an
guy.
open floor
Yeah.
plan.
I think
So
sometimes it depends on the footprint of the home, right? If it's a smaller home, the open floor plan made it look
Bigger,
bigger, right? If it's a bigger home, you're definitely not going to have big open space. You're not going to enclose everything,
Hey,
right?
I'm a pro
So-
at making things look bigger. It's all about backdrop
Mhm.
lighting, you know.
Oh, the
Yeah.
lighting.
Trimming the bushes.
You gotta
Yep,
trim it
light.
up, man.
Makes
Gotta
that
trim it
window
up.
look huge.
Yes, it
You
does.
do
Mhm.
what do they
Too
call it?
much bush. You're like, is that a
curb.
little window?
Yeah.
Hey, you trim the bush away. You're like, oh, it's a bigger window than I thought.
It's gigantic.
curb appeal?
Right.
Yeah. Jim,
see, yeah.
what do you
so
think about that? Do you trim
You trim your windows.
so
trim more windows? Yikes!
so the other thing that's going out, and I kind of like this, but I could live either way, is all white interiors and kitchen, all white kitchen interiors and just regular interiors. A lot of people like white, completely white, like white everything, white countertops, white cabinets, white.
You need diversity.
Now
Jim.
they want color, right? Which I kind of agree with. But now what they're thinking is what are we going to do from white? We're going to move over to black.
Oh, the other extreme.
Ugh.
Jeez.
I mean, every time I see black
interior
interiors, when I see like black countertops and all that,
remind
black
you of,
bathrooms, it reminds me of the 80s.
Yes.
It reminds me of outdated 80s stuff. Now I know that designers will make things pretty, but black is not my color. So I don't think I'm going to like any of these trends coming up. I think I'm going to hate all the houses.
Well, I'm
gonna be
not
selling
even
lately.
a fan of the all white either. It
Yeah,
just makes it feel way too like
Clinical?
unlivable. Yeah, clinical. It's just not comfy.
And now, and because of the getting rid of the white and they want more texture and color, now no more minimalist. So they want to put a lot of Chotsky stuff in the house and decorations and stuff like that, which no big deal.
That's easy.
Gray
Yeah.
flooring's out. Gray flooring's out. They're saying for a single family, gray flooring is no good.
What gray? You're saying gray?
Yeah, they're saying they don't like gray anymore. They're saying including white, sand dune, birch, twig, and golden oak families. That's all out, right?
Oh.
golden oak is out.
Golden oak, darn it.
As
I
a
really,
floor?
yeah, golden oak. Terrazzo's out, and I love terrazzo. I've become a bigger fan of terrazzo over the years.
What is that? Is it terracotta?
Terrazzo floor is kind of, I don't even know if they have it anyplace else but Florida, because I've never seen it anyplace else. But terrazzo is a concrete floor where they put either quartz or granite or quartz granite, and there's another type of thing. Sometimes they even did seashells in Florida, and they would crush it up and mix it in with the concrete, and then they lay the floor, and then that's your floor. That's your
But it's
finished
smooth,
floor,
but it has
and
some
it's smooth and
texture
shiny.
looking. Okay.
And and that became really popular in Florida 50s and pre-50s because it was a cooling function for Florida without air conditioning. So back in the day, they used to build the house on the lot based on the wind that was blowing through to give you airflow in the house. Like Key West is famous for that, right? Those little Key West shotgun houses. They situated them so the wind would blow through the house and they would figure out what.
So you didn't have to have your windows closed, pumping AC all the time.
Well, they didn't have AC back then, so this was all like, this was your air conditioner.
Sure.
And the other thing that they did, at least up here, maybe not Key West, was terrazzo floors, because the floors were always cool and it made things better. And terrazzo could be really colorful if you want. It could be a lot of fun with it. Anytime I see terrazzo, a lot of people didn't like it. It became outdated after a while. So you'll see a lot of people that put carpet tack strips on the terrazzo floor and then just carpet over it, or they put something over the top of it.
Oh, sure.
And then when you pull it up, there's all these little holes where the carpet strips were. And it kind of, if you don't have a good terrazzo guy to fix it, you might not end up being able to save it. The other thing that a couple other things, no more farmhouse style. I kind of like that, but I'm done with those stupid barn doors. Oh my God. How many, Mike, do you have barn door?
No.
Okay. I didn't think you did.
I've thought about it in one spot, but
everybody put them in somewhere because they thought it was cool.
They
but
do look
if
cool.
it doesn't, I like them too, but sometimes they were just ridiculous. It's like, I like this, it's cool. I remember.
How about a barn door to get in and out of your bathroom?
I've seen that. Yeah,
right?
I've seen that.
It just seems so tedious.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like Johnny, when you wake up in the middle of the night, you want to like slide your barn door open and slide it closed, and
not really.
Just want to kind of like the old traditional knob. And
so barn door is just a pocket door. I mean, we just
really, it's just not in the wall.
Yeah.
It's just on the outside wall. It's a lazy man pocket door is what it is, because you have to rip out the drywall.
Back in the day, they used to put them on barns.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, so you could actually open the big barn door.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
Well,
that's why it's named like that.
Well, now it makes sense. No, I prefer either hanging beads or like a swinging door.
Yeah. Oh, hanging beads. I just was in a house that had hanging beads yesterday.
Beads or swinging doors.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that's interesting. I like this trend. What's out is ripping out your flooring and fully replacing the flooring. They if the flooring's good, the lean in is to renovate the floor, like refreshen it up. So re-sand the hardwood floors and then seal them and not put in new floors.
I'm not going to be subscribing to this.
I don't like any of this stuff. So Martha, sorry, Martha.
We had a comment there. He says, everyone wants upper cabinets, and yes, everyone still wants open floor plan.
I know that's what I feel.
Right.
Whoever that is, I agree with you. I want an open floor plan too. That's the way. I don't know. I just feel very claustrophobic with the 8-foot ceilings and the closed-in rooms like we used to do when we were growing up. I like the open floor plan.
Are popcorn ceilings coming back?
They didn't say anything about the popcorn ceilings. Only if the asbestos comes with it.
Nice.
A lot of people don't know that in the 50s and 60s, most of that popcorn ceiling was asbestos. So if you're sitting there ripping that out by yourself and you don't have a mask on, you don't vacuum, it could get kind of dangerous in the long run.
I would say if you have popcorn ceilings now, it was probably sprayed on in the 80s, and it's just it's plaster.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard remember the popcorn ceiling with the little glitter in it?
No.
You guys don't remember that? In Florida, I think around the time with asbestos, when they put the popcorn up, they used to put in like little sparkly glitter stuff in it, right?
Yeah, we had it in the old house.
Yeah, so I think that's the stuff that has asbestos in it.
Blotted.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's the asbestos.
That explains it.
Oh,
everything.
Yeah.
I think you were blotted. You just saw those sparkles.
No, I wasn't blotted. No. Yeah. So just thought that was kind of interesting about the new trends, because I always like seeing what happens. But black, if we're going to start seeing black bathrooms and black kitchens and stuff.
What about black exterior? That's, I think, no, seriously.
Are people painting their houses black?
Shades of black. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's a thing now.
Really?
I don't know if it's energy efficient. Maybe it depends on your climate.
I might be down to paint my house black. That might be cool.
And I don't know if it's like black, like like your shirt black,
Right.
but just some shade.
I wear black until they make something darker for sure. So I might paint my house black on the outside. I wouldn't do it on the inside, but the outside's kind of cool.
The other thing is, like, I don't mind trends with paint, because then you could change it up. Now, but if you tell me you're going to put in a black countertop, That's an
and a
expensive
black backsplash.
switch. That's,
Yeah,
unless
like-
it's Formica, it's going to be
Yeah,
expensive to switch.
yeah.
To
Who's
switch
this
out.
Micah guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for him.
Nice guy. Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to say, everybody,
loan
that we
officer.
had a lot of people on our show today from YouTube and Facebook putting in comments all throughout the show. Really appreciate that. Thank you for supporting us. Anybody out there that needs mortgages, buy a house, sell a house, insure a house, questions on legal stuff, Johnny's knows the details.
Oh, I do. Yeah. And hopefully you do at this point as well. If not, good time to write it down or put it to memory. Florida Talk Real Estate is not only a radio show, it is also a team of pros. It's a .com. You can get them all. We call it the one-stop real estate shop for a reason, because you do get all these pros by simply going to floridatalkrealestate.com. You're already on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you for being there. Lots of information to be consumed. And of course, you can reach out for a comment on Facebook as well. But floridatalkrealestate.com is a beautiful resource. Know it, use it, love it, share it. If you're thinking, yeah, I need to get my numbers in line, do that. It's pretty painless. You'd be really amazed at how this team is just so professional and amazing. If you like the radio show, you're going to love the white glove treatment you get with the pros at floridatalkrealestate.com. Me and Jimothy here every Saturday. Hell, we'll even send you a text if we have to. We'll do it.
Damn right.
Yeah. floridatalkrealestate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change your life. You can change lives completely at floridatalkrealestate.com. Mike Rauch, mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Have a great weekend, my friend.
That's right. Happy Saturday. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you very much for all that you do. And Jimothy, you gonna stick around, do the locker room?
Sure am. Yeah.
Greek and Joe.
Gonna talk a little sports.
It's got bowl games today.
Yeah.
How about that?
Some started. Yep.
Beautiful. Well, we'll be listening. Thanks for all that you do as always.
Thank you.
And Jim and D, there's Jim DePola, Florida Home Pros with Keller Williams Innovations. We appreciate all your efforts always, and we hope that you have a fantastic weekend as well.
Thank you so much, Johnny. Everybody have a Merry Christmas, because we're not going to be on the show next week.
Oh,
I
we
just
don't
wanna
do
say,
that.
I know you don't like
we
it, but
don't
I'm
do
telling
that.
them we're going to do a rerun.
Come on, man.
We don't tell
sorry.
them we're not live. Well, then Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah,
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas,
Yeah,
everybody.
we would've said
I
the
had to
same
say
thing.
Merry Christmas
We don't
to people.
do that.
I had to say Merry Christmas, people.
All right, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Thank you for being with us. And I guess we're going to have a rerun next Saturday. Enjoy the locker room. Happy holidays. Florida Talk Real Estate.